like, just think of the children. And they're like, what children? I don't know, but just think of them.
Is it launch in time? It sure is.
Do you like this card?
Good.
Do you like silk stitching? Because I've not seen it do too much.
I do, yeah.
You're just there to do that job,
basically.
basically.
Yeah, it's another cheap card that goes in, and it's one of those cards that is difficult to get a handle on overall, because it's very high variance, right? So you need a big sample. So it was a card that when it first started making its appearance in the deck, elicited very strong opinions from people as to whether they'd high rolled it the first 5 times they played it, or hit nothing the first 5 times they played it. But I think over time it's evened out to being a pretty good addition to the deck. Because it's very high variance.
I just had a tiny disconnect there.
Well, that's a fairly big problem that Philfield is going to have to try and solve here, and that's called a lot of stuff. There is, of course, the launching of their own ship if required, and the location is off cooldown as well.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go.
Chaos Campaign copy.
Yeah. Now this is
not even going to use the AoE. How many Spellburst procs have we got in there? Just the 2?
No, there's more.
Oh no,
there's more.
no,
Yeah,
it goes again.
Yeah.
It goes again.
They used an earlier copy on it, didn't they?
Oh, 3/3 again. And because it was a sketchy one from Diz because he had so much more board presence available there than he actually got. Yeah, it's gonna give it up. He had,
brutal.
because he had all the leeches and so on in play, I think, he had 3 guiding figures in there, but only 1 spire. So he had so many procs going off from the Death Rattle, like missed out on potentially 1 giant minion on board because of board space. But then what you want to do against a deck that does have AoE against you is stack those layers, right? So if you don't have tons of individual spires in your ship, when the AoE goes off, the board that gets left behind is kind of underwhelming because it was actually the guiding figures that were doing all the work.
So basically, anyway, as I was saying, I went to Metal Town 2000. Whatever, I saw Slipknot and I knew what to expect. I guess something was underwhelming. I've heard them live so many times. I don't know. But then played Meshuggah as superior technique and feeling and audio quality. Wow. Well, does it have Swarm? It's not gonna get better than this, it seems. It's not good enough.
EU on points, and EU of course is the most competitive region to be able to pick up those points in regardless. So I'm sure Philfield will be delighted with his 2 days work on the Saturday and Sunday, booking a spot
What the
in
fuck,
the Masters Tour by progressing through to the final 2 of this tournament.
100%, and it does mean we are quickly moving on to semi-final number 2, which is going to be Norwis versus Nightmare 14. We can see the bans here, but what can you tell me about the lineups and potentially the ban impact on these as well, Soto?
Very little right this second because
I thought you'd already had them up.
to get them up on my screen
No.
over here now. I remember Norwis's lineup anyway because he has the Aggro Demon Hunter and the Drink Paladin with the Imbue Druid, which Larindra and I cast that game
Drunk
where
Paladin.
it's just kind of greed. I'm not going to remove your board. I'm not going to remove your board. Oh, oops, I died. Which it sounds stupid when we put it out that way, but we kind of agreed with all of the greed throughout the entire game. And then Fyrakk Rogue rounding that out. So it's kind of triple aggro with a rogue tossed in on top. And then Nightmare has the red-red-green Starship DK, very similar deck to what we have been seeing, only with the Ceaseless Expanse in there, and a copy of Foam Render thrown in as well. Has the Aulonius Druid, has Raven's favourite deck with the Quest Warlock, with a copy of Sweetened Snowflurry in there as well, just for some extra cards. That's essentially, 6 cards in one from that 3-drop that you can get there. That's a lot of food that you can chuck into your rifts. And then the Royal Librarian as well that Disdemon was playing. So interesting clash of lineups for sure. Perhaps would have liked to see what, say, Norwis's lineup could do against Filthiel's lineup, right? Like the hyper aggro Demon Hunter and the Drunk Paladin going up against some of the greediest decks in the tournament.
That's terrible.
But these are kind of pretty halfway decks from Nightmare. Like Quest Warlock, although it can play as a control deck, is a very fast deck in its own right. So I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, overall, how well this like super all-in aggro strategy has done for Norwis, because it's not something that we've seen do very well outside of a couple of players early on in APAC.
Yeah, I do feel like Nightmare's lineup is as close, at least for me, to my expected lineup from most players, right? It feels like right down the... Because we've got Aulonius Druid, very popular deck, very powerful. Fyrakk Rogue, yes. Starship DK, or at least some form of that DK. You know, there's a few small variations, but more or less that. And then we've got the Quest Warlock, which I guess could be up in the air, whether that's a, meta standard or not. But I think at least recently it's gotten very popular. So for me, this is like the general good stuff lineup, or as close as we've seen to it this tournament. So it will be cool to see, what arguably the good decks do against what is not a general lineup for Norwis.
I have no further analysis.
Tree. Where's the demolition?
Someone call Sly Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
What a film. What a film.
I know I've seen it. I could tell you the rough plot, but I couldn't tell you anything individual. Although actually,
I bet you could. I bet you
the
could.
weird scene with Stallone and Sandra Bullock in it. Is that film?
Yes. It depends what you mean by the weird scene, but sure, probably.
I refuse to go into further details as we are a family show.
How many restaurants are in that film?
I'm taking a shot of Gorilla hot sauce.
How many different restaurant chains?
Shit, habanero left or whatever.
I'm going to say one.
The answer's one. Okay, you need to rewatch the film and then come back to me and laugh.
And then the terrible cheap taste,
We are going to get into it though. Norwis getting off to a pretty good start here with the Battle Fiend. However, Nightmare being able to at least contest the board early with the little treants.
Extra spicy, extreme chili is 10,000 Scoville. I'll do. I think I'll do it.
For a second, then I just stared. I was like, "Oh yeah, King Mukla's in this deck, isn't it?"
To see how long I can stand the pain without drinking.
Just a reminder.
Just in the deck.
Yeah, just there.
Iced coffee.
I guess this is going face. Yeah, makes sense. The trade doesn't really change anything. Oh, it's actually going to red card it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, to be fair, against the Druid, there's not that much
bad, man.
that you're planning on red carding, right?
My gourmand is telling me I haven't
I guess not. Yeah,
today,
sure.
Like, Oh, it's just
I get it.
twisting
Defend
and
it makes it.
tossing
It
and
doesn't
size,
die
like,
to another living
I
roots
can't
or
resist,
anything.
I
Like,
think.
why not push more damage? And there he is, the man himself, King Mukla.
High expectations.
Yeah, makes sense. Protects it from Living Roots number 2. Protects it from File. You open yourself up to, I believe, a one of Rising Waves that Nightmare is playing. But I don't think you really take that as too big a loss if that gets.
Yeah, on the
baited out
one
of hand
minion,
there.
right? Like, fair enough, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Look at that fucking gorilla.
Couple of options here as well now with the pickup of Kane and Ziliax. It's going to be Ziliax as early as you can get it down. Normally, the better.
10,000 Scoville.
And now it's just question after question for Nightmare, right? Like, can he answer this? Can he deal with this? Because this board this is like the start. I feel like just all the big guys.
Particularly against Druid,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
this is what you want to see.
Oh, that farting caught me out of breath, man. He do some
Ooh,
exercise.
Rising Waves, make anything happen here? Trade off both of your individual minions to take that down to 4. Which just leaves a 5-2
Look at that fucking guy.
after the Rising Waves,
see
and then
that?
you can go for the Vate missiles 50-50.
I don't hate it because there's at least one cost location next turn.
Look at
It's
the
not
air
like you're
fire.
planning on innovating out. Well, I mean, maybe
Yeah, okay,
you
that's
are,
gonna be
but
better actually. Let
Alonius.
me heat up the.
I think I like it. It's big if it works. Didn't work.
Ooh, all right. Take 5, dummy. Oh, such a big deal when you look at the remainder of the hand as well.
Yeah.
It's just all raw damage.
I know it's just going to quickly work out whether the minion's better than the hero power here. It probably is, but it's worth
Air
just
fry my
looking,
hamster,
right? Just
shove it up
considering,
my
do I want
ass,
to push the extra one?
break off your foot.
Yeah.
But honestly, after seeing that from Nightmare, you've got to think Nightmare's not got much actual removal left, right? Because that was a desperation play.
Psychic, I can feel the kebab.
That
It's like,
Innovate is a
the
surprisingly
kebab
big
is hard
draw.
to recreate. You know, it's got
Because it allows a 5 pick.
the
Yeah,
flames
that's
fit with the
exactly
meat
what he's going to
doesn't
go
do it,
for.
otherwise I pick us
Oh,
up
gets
in the
Raptors
future.
and armor in
I
the
do be
same
able to do it.
package, though, unfortunately. But can now hit the second proc of Tree and does have Innovate for that 5 mana location. But picks up the Swipe
you get?
instead
and
with
Chalice.
Chalice, which ends up
Okay.
as a beautiful full clear.
Yeah, hold.
Oatmeal, onion, 3 onions.
That's a pretty fantastic draw, though. That is a lot of damage over the next couple of turns. No hope, of course, of any of these minions
Yeah,
sticking
mix up a
around. You
little
know
bit
about the
healthier
chalices
here.
in your opponent's hand now, but they do
You
just
know, you're
push
thinking
that
about your
immediate damage that
cholesterol,
you're
am I
looking
fat?
for.
Am I eating too much
Yeah, you just
meat,
sort of
you know?
look at it as
My
less
skin
minions
is
and more
red,
just
I
this
always
much
had a
mana
brand
deal
in the
this much
gym.
damage, right? It is what it is.
You
You
know
don't really
what?
care
You
about
can
anything
double
else.
your kebab.
Now, is there any
Just
reason
the stuff
to
you
do the
add is
acupuncture this
vegetarian kebab.
turn? Just to spend the mana? Like, is it...
More hamburgers, more
Yeah, there's no
pizza.
real reason to
course.
save it, right? Just spend it just in case. I'm just looking where there's
Want more bacon? Marinated
Rana,
bacon.
right? I'm
very
just looking at what's
tasty.
the expensive stuff that you could top deck that would make using that 1 mana important.
Because you really
and
want
yeah,
to
it's just worth it.
consider not eating bacon. You know, it's got 3
But
times
that's,
more
like,
saturated fats
pretty
than other
big
meats.
deal.
That's the worst part.
Is this just all
Yeah,
armor?
that swipe the swipe chalice draw was so huge because it preserved that Innovate, right, which looked like it had to be the play on that turn to get the location that you picked down. And then because you preserved the Innovate, you can actually get the sleep down to gain 10 armor in that situation as well and clear out the board.
Yeah, so clean. Did go for the crystals, of course, with the final, so it's 10 armor crystals to be able to clear the board. Of course, gets to push damage, and now the sort of aggro switch has been flipped. Right now, it's Nightmare actually pushing down Norwis, and Norwis has to pull something out the bag here because there's a minimum 6 damage coming his way. I guess he could trade into the 3-2. I guess it knows there's what, minimum of 9 damage because they know there's 2 bananas and know there's a hero power.
They know the bananas are there, yeah.
Might end up slipping on the peel.
At least it's not the double battle cry bananas from earlier.
Grub is
Yeah,
fun
can
when
clear it off
talking
with these
about like
stingers.
kebab or food and not insect. Unless it's like
specifically, but
insect
you know what I mean.
kebab. I saw some guy put gold and like deep fried grasshoppers
There's
in a
Alonius.
taco. And it was so tasty and earthy, you know, pristine. He won the fucking food competition, Michelin star chefs.
Really the hits.
I was a little bit surprised, honestly. I thought this was going to be a location turn.
Is that interesting?
Still can be though, right? 'Cause
Oh
of the
wait,
discount.
yeah, sorry,
Get enough
it's only
discount.
3 raptors. Yeah, I'm being silly. I thought there wouldn't be enough space, but there is. Yeah, it's okay, it's fine.
Living Root's still 2 off.
Time waits for no one.
Yeah, I think
This
this is
kind
good,
of format
right?
is
Because
so
it's
bad. It's like the thing in
very
Arena,
likely
feels like.
that the Norwis
course,
can't
Pyrrha
clear
fits with
everything
the aggro
and
role,
threaten
because they don't
lethal in any meaningful
Fucking
way.
kill
Here.
them before turn 8.
Yeah, just trade me. I don't need to be crazy.
Yeah, there is a consideration to go face there
I play
because
wild,
you
man. I'm not playing
prevent
for
your
new
opponent
cards.
from being able to cast acupuncture as part
It's
of a
gonna
lethal,
cost
or
50
even like
euros, 3
you know
times
attacking
per
into
year, right?
something to activate extra damage for hot coals or redirecting damage from Arana. Well, I guess
Right.
actually if you're redirecting damage,
I
that makes
tried
a
to go
difference.
for
That's
stars
nonsense.
instead of wild.
But the other 2 points at least. But yeah, I think still just taking care of the 1 damage that you can see on board
wild
would probably
legendaries,
make the
it
most
cost
sense.
me
It looked so good
God
there for
knows how
Norwis at the
much.
start,
I invested too
especially
much money in Hearthstone.
after
Don't have to
the
put any more money
Mukla
in.
survived that
I
arcane
play
missile
wild, never
split.
changed. She just
But it was that
gathering.
super clutch draw. Had a plan going
She
into
could be
it.
bad.
It was first the innovate off the top at the start of the turn. We're like, okay, great. I can get a 5-mana location, maybe gain some armor, start stabilizing the game. Tried to execute that plan, drew the 2 cards off the tree, and then the 2 cards off the tree just presented an even better plan with the swipe chalice, and then allowed the Vate to be saved for the double armor sleep, which kind of locked out the game at that point. So very, very nicely navigated from Nightmare in the end there. And I think that Druid will probably be the deck in his lineup that he's the most scared of against this, you know, reckless aggro lineup coming from Norwis.
Yeah, I think games like that are the ones that you see the players who win these tournaments or, you know, go far in these tournaments. Those are the games you need to win, right? Where it's looking bad and then you just yoink the win out of nowhere. I'm not saying it's, you know, it wasn't, you know, there's elements of luck, of course, but I think Nightmare played well. But like those losing games that you can steal are the ones that make you win the
Triple
series,
streaming
right? So
sources
definitely
right now.
interested to see how the rest of this is going to
the
go, because
fucking-
you can look back on exactly that turn you mentioned where the
I thought
turn
there
was
was something
going to
that
be
loaded up the air
okay for
fryer.
Nightmare, but yeah, the swipe was just into the chalice as well, because then the other part of the chalice helped clear the cliff turn right afterwards as
Actually,
well, so it just
the
all
most
added
mana
up to
off and
just
it's proper
so
mana off
much
the fact
removal.
that-
So yeah, really good there.
We've had the wild tournaments in like 10 years, you know, half the population plays wild, and less than 5% of tournaments have been wild tournaments. Would be interesting as fuck. But then they can't run off with your fucking money.
Of different ones in there.
Yeah, in this case, still 1-0
Yeah,
manager.
I
The
blanked the way
Grifter has
back
come
to
in, but what? Oh, there's
share
a
from
Nightmare
Dark
Fuel in here. Discover a copy of your copy of minion in your opponent's deck with Dark Gift if you combo it. So that is another unique individual card that we're seeing in the Fyrakk Rogue list.
And also, extremely on brand.
True. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you've had your World Champion card printed in advance, it's only right that you play it in your deck.
Very clean kill here against the Neophyte with the weapon pickup for Norwis, though. Once again, the Battle Fiend down nice and early, putting in the work. This is tricky. Is this the turn to play Madness? Because the Neophyte's just dead anyway With a, I guess it costs a hero power, but you know what I mean, right? I didn't know if that was the turn to go digging instead.
Yeah, a little bit awkward because now your next turn's looking quite slow as well with the way you've done this, right? Which is less than ideal.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I mean that
go
helps.
twice.
Yeah. Tar Creeper with charge. Oh, Divine
Cultist.
Shield
Yeah, I was
Reborn
just gonna
Taunt from
say cultist.
Okay.
Oh, that looks pretty good to me. Sorry, chef. No one said to you. No one's excited to see you, my friend.
Yeah, the problem with the cultist though is that it is just so tiny.
Tar Creeper.
Like, yes,
Tar-
there's a Divine
Ah.
Shield, but yeah, but you're playing against Demon Hunter, so the Divine Shield ping is really cheap for your opponent to be able to do. Reborn Buccaneer. Okay, those are some decent Dark Gifts for sure.
And next
you can
turn,
see why
the Scoundrel.
Nightmare is a fan of the Dark Gift. can't you?
Yep. Next turn, Scoundrel into one of these 3-drops. Seems good.
Yep. You would imagine Buccaneer for a Buccaneer in good time.
I'm imagining.
I thought of 2 German bankers characters.
So is it 12 damage
You
and
know,
instant
space
removal?
in my book. Herr Schmetten Shekel.
It might just
Right
about be
after
enough.
the 2 aristocrats, von Veg and von Valorant.
Oh, the added 1 for the breakpoint as well.
It's
Oh,
so nice.
yes.
Yeah. That, I mean,
You love to see it.
And there's the setup now, right? There's this the mini Scoundrel, of course. There's still the cultist if that needs to come out from some more defense. But there's also, we've seen the rest of the mid to late game stuff. There's the Elise, there's the 7-8 drops, and so on. But Norwis has a lot of
Well,
gas in the
something
tank still,
statistical,
right? There's
by
still a
far the
lot
most
of stuff going on
successful
here. It's not like
species.
Norwis is
This guy's
running
a bit
low
loud.
on the hand count at all. But time might
The
be
most
more of an
successful
issue.
species is insects, and by the most successful on the insects, beetles. Earth is basically just made of fucking
Where'd you go
beetles.
here?
There's like 600,000 species.
Could that? Do you think like Elise, 1 cost location, Scoundrel Taunt?
It's not bad, yeah, it's mana efficient. I have been staring at this hand thinking what the mana efficient play
And it's
is.
a lot
This
of
is
stuff.
the
haven't
ox
named one.
beetle, right?
Yeah.
It's the biggest and
It is a lot of
strongest.
stuff,
They
yeah.
throw each other,
Just go with
shoot
the
each other
fan,
off.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to make 6.
Yeah.
Like 4 plus
Yeah.
1 plus 1 plus 0 is 6, but 6 is also 6.
True.
you know, with the Y horn.
This just feel. I think this is doing the difficult thing first, right? Which is 6-drop pass. Yes, it of course does Fan of Knives, but you understand what I'm saying. But I
Yep.
just wonder whether like, is this gonna have enough impact? Like, what if you just take a massive hit again now? Like, is that gonna be a problem? I don't know. Also, there's
So I'm trying to think of the
Grifter.
Demon Hunter hand that beats you, and it's like it's handful of damage into Kane, right? That's the
Yeah.
hand that beats you. I'm trying to think if you have any option to play around that. It probably involves location if you're going to.
And now Grifter heal, potentially.
And now Griff to heal, yeah, very good point.
Yeah, this
Is
was
it
my
Drift like on a
concern with
Dreif,
playing with
Norwis
the
with
Fan of Knives
12
kind
healing
of play
multiple
last turn.
times?
Of just like, well, okay, you've got A6
Find out next
Right.
time in the Hearthstone
that your
Esports.
opponent's probably not going to just play into. do you know what I mean?
It's gonna
Obviously, it's
slam
still
the
6 damage to the
table,
face
leave
and bring them down
dishes,
to
the
11, which
streamer.
is a lot of damage, but
I think at least part of the thinking here is that you actually gave yourself some lethal outs doing it this way.
sure.
If your minions had stuck, then you had the small pirate into Shaladrisil into Nightmare. If you drew Shadow Step or Prep, you can use those to cheat more mana to then play Awakens from the Shaladrisil as well, which also would have ended up being lethal. So there's a couple of ways to do it. I don't think Nightmare is like full focused on being defensive.
This is nice, though. Armor and Discover a Spell make it cost 4 less.
And And now, yeah, gets the location down, which means Norwis is right back on the back foot again, has to clear some of this up, or he's just eating lethal from Shaladrisil yet again with the Nightmare. Needs to at least get rid of the 6-4. That's at least get rid of the 6-4, not at least get rid of the 6-4, which would be very confusing in this position.
Does have the red card as an emergency factor as well.
Yeah.
Fireball. Okay.
Okay, I mean, efficient sources of direct damage. That's certainly very helpful in this.
Yeah, you could red card coin Fireball, or even just go weapon Rockbiter or something, right?
Yeah. The important thing there was not to hit like Savage Raw Bloodlust style cards,
Yeah,
right?
because
Which
it's
just
not gonna happen,
offer
right?
you no
Yeah.
damage. Yeah.
Grows short.
Gonna go in with this, at least to some extent now. Oh, interesting. I don't know if I would have Rockbite
Scary.
because
I don't
of
know why
the
I did that.
potential of taunt, or if I'm just saying that because I know there's a taunt.
So we can go fishing with Grifter, kill the minion for free with the Assassinate, still have enough left for Undercover. Ooh,
I guess
no
taunt?
heal, no damage.
Because I don't think drawing's gonna help now, right? Unless it's drawing
No.
into Shadow Step.
Yeah, you could play it, Shadow Step, still have one more rebuy, but that seems unlikely.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable, you could,
Spicy.
like, you can play one taunt and draw, and then you increase your chances by a lot of hitting Ziliax next turn, which can potentially end the game, but that would also involve your
Oh! Wait.
Amulet is just summon a minion. It's not enough with the fireball.
It's like fried kebab.
Rockbiter is only 6. Hot Coals is only 8 or 9 if you attack into a minion, but you lose 1 damage in order to do that anyway.
There's no draw off the weapon, right? That I'm not thinking about here.
What is left in the deck?
I'm trying to flick through just to have a look, but there's Thalnos, but that doesn't change anything, does it? Or does it?
With Hot Coals? Could you take in the damage, maybe? No, it just helps you clear up, at least, so you're theoretically alive, setting up for the lethal next
Christ,
turn, but
man.
now the Ziliax has been drawn, and there's a Thalnos on board, which means paring it down with the armor.
Oh wait, is there? Wait, is there? Oh no, there's not. There's not prep Shaladrisil, is there? Gonna go dig. Oh, deadly poison.
Deadly poison for 0.
Yeah, that's fine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No manager.
Mail detector,
Yeah.
deadly poison, oh manager, does not need the healing, just gets there over the line with the Discover.
Yeah, 2 times in a row now that Nightmare has just managed to hang on and push back the aggression. Huge there, and again, just another big win, just about surviving through this aggro. And now I feel like, you know,
the one way against Valorant part's really dumb. It goes like this. Arnade precis med sina fränder van vägen Valorant. Australia thought, yeah, for this last contract, they're taking a short twice the size. Alpha wasn't even stupid. Wow, lady Repsitude, you remember when I asked if you had a sister? Do you think nothing will wake him up now, Sniff? Nothing. Arnold went to his bed. Come on, bro, you gotta lock in. You said this wasn't gonna be the last. As long as the locate and baguette usually isn't found. Lock in, bro. As Arnold said lock in and shook his shoulders, vague, rose quickly in military, ready for orders and breathed brutally through his nostrils. He passed away. My life had been lifeless and grey. He went on to live another 47 years.
Questing assistant, Spelunker, you know, just plenty of early game tools, and then you've got the likes of Hellfire for the big AoE if required. So there are these tools that can buy some time, especially against Demon Hunter, where we see a lot of it is, you know, face swings, stopping battle fiends or something like that. Like, the options are there.
Yeah, I think Questing Assistant in particular, absolutely massive for just stopping either of those snowball minions that you can come up against early.
3 is a lot.
3 is one of the larger numbers, for sure.
Well, not the best opening here for that, but still not bad.
Oh, can I have all 3 of those, please?
Yes.
I will trade you the 3 cards in my hand for those 3 cards.
Yeah, I think this is correct though, right?
Establishes some board presence right now.
Yep. Completely with you on this.
Nightmare, just quick check, see if
Let me put
Whisper's a
some hot
dragon.
sauce.
No, unlucky.
On the baguette. Baguette's hot sauce.
Yeah, weirdly ahead on board here is kind of good for Nightmare, of course. But Wisp again.
Oh no.
The tempo is insane.
Oh no. Ripping mass production this early is a little bit sad as well, just because of the extra clog that you put in your deck with the additional copies of mass production. You don't want to keep drawing mass production at this stage.
And I do like
Needs
this.
must.
Maybe not. I think I'm a fan of spending the Corpsicle. Like, you can't just take 3 this early, right? Do you not? Corpsicle isn't really going to be the win condition here. Yeah, so I like spending this. I don't know about you.
Baguette Noir instead of Jaguar.
It also protects a minion in play for the Horizon's Edge, right? So next turn you might be able to play Horizon's Edge, trade into something, get a double proc
True.
from
That's
Horizon's
pretty
Edge to clear up the
stupid.
board, which is
Fine.
Yep, completely agree.
And now all you need is every single one of those shots to go to the minion,
Easy.
and you might have a chance.
Roaring Baguette Noir.
Glacial Shard. That looked like location number 2. That is location number 2. Okay, the quest is speeding up, but as is your imminent demise to this single
You
minion.
didn't understand that. Well,
I think I like locking into the location. Well, I think I clicked the first location, right? You holy.
Oh, one of those, please.
Okay.
I will take another one of those, but actually it'll be temporary again. It won't work. Never mind.
oh my god.
Yeah, if
What
you
it-
Glacial
now
Shard
I
it
can
twice,
get it
it's
up fast.
frozen for 2 turns, right?
Now you just play it and you don't actually click the location because that's how hard you believe in Glacial Shard again next turn.
And
I
suddenly
love hot
with
sauce with flavor.
2 of these minions stick,
That's why I
maybe
eat it.
the Horizon's
This
Edge
is
can get
like
things
no
done next
flavor.
turn.
At least the pure one
Yeah.
attempted to have some flavor.
However, it is important to note that there's a fair few mass production knocking around in the deck now.
There really are, yeah.
He's going to be able to clear a couple of these up, and
Chili
obviously way
pepper
more
for
health on the
6%,
board now with the addition
fruit
of the Battle
vinegar,
Fiend. Once
salt,
again,
garlic,
going to make
ginger, and
Horizon's
chili
Edge a little
spice.
bit rough here. Might have to go Spelunking instead.
Is that Curse Catacombs? Yes, it is. All right.
Oh,
Freeze.
it doesn't taste. It tastes like a punch.
Not really the time for
With
it.
brittle teeth.
Librarian?
Oh, and just silence.
Librarian
Okay.
stops you from
Ooh, ooh,
dying,
ooh.
right? Yeah, sets up the quest for next turn. I like this.
Okay, yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, 100%. I'll be honest. I kind of lost track of the quest and didn't realize that was
Oh
going to
my
activate. 'Cause
God.
that's kind of nice now.
Really strong.
And now, if Nightmare equips the portal, and the first roll is the Reborn Taunt and Lifesteal Rush, it's going to be tough for Noise.
You say that? That's not that unlikely an outcome.
No,
There
that's
are
what I'm
only
saying.
three
That's what I'm saying.
possibilities.
Yeah. Like that wasn't a stretch. That's just saying if that combination happens, it's going to be very rough.
Yep.
Okay.
Although Hot Coals Acupuncture in hand here for Norwis, I think he might have even the dream combination covered. Looking probably for a Glacial Shard again. There's a Voodoo Doctor though. Is this the clutchest Voodoo Doctor you've ever seen in your life?
Taking it back to the start. Oh yeah.
Get a Rift down. Chuck a Summoner into it.
Ooh, close.
Oh no! Voodoo Doctor carry. It's gonna have to be.
It's like, look, will you let me just do it again?
Yeah,
just
I get
sacrifice
this
another
in
minion,
quite a
please.
lot.
Imagine him in person once, but
Oh my
you
God.
just keep yeeting your entire hand into
I'd
it.
love that and hate it at the same time, equally. I'd be like, I'm having such a good time, but I would be crying at the same time.
I remembered. Just like I'm right now.
I don't think this is
I
going to
put
be
up
enough.
with the spine.
Acupuncture and hot coals.
And as long as I could, there's water. And
It's
it
gonna
works
be a lot
anyway.
of work, and obviously all the
Yeah,
one
but this
ones are
time-
getting work done. Still enough room for the hero power, the chaos strike, whatever you fancy. And
That tastes
Nois
like a heart
is
attack.
not done yet. Manages to fight back. The Demon Hunter finally gets a
Oh!
win. Nightmare couldn't hold this one off, although it was close, right? He almost got there, but not the best opening hand. Honestly, so much self-damage having to cycle was a little bit rough there. But Nois kept the pressure up and made sure he didn't give Nightmare any wiggle
You know
room
what?
at all.
That's enough. I don't
So
have to take a shot of that.
it does mean that there's still potentially a few more games left of
Oh,
this
it's kinda
series, right?
similar.
If Norwis
That was
wins
like
the
half
next
as
one,
fast
then this is
taking a
going to
shot.
still, sort of keep fighting back. I'm just looking at
Yeah,
the... Oh, sorry.
There was-
really close series still. Yeah, no, it's a close series
Oh,
still
wow, you
because
guys
this
wanna
Quest
take a
Warlock
shot?
can just get run over like that against some of these decks.
Oh.
With the Paladin being banned out, though, there is the Druid left over, which is perhaps a little bit slower to start ramping up than the Demon
Oh my
Hunter
God.
is, and doesn't have as much direct damage in terms of being able to go over the top of those Reborn taunts that come down. And then, of course, there's the Rogue left
Wow.
over behind that
What do
as
you
well,
think?
which is the Fire Rogue.
Did I
which
push
is
you out
an
too much?
absolute ton of so far. So still a long way to go in this one for sure. I think Quest
Should I take a
Warlock
shot?
probably is
And,
the vulnerable deck
a good
in this
long
series
proper
for
3
Nightmare,
shots, you
but
know?
Still a couple of other bites of the cherry.
Yeah, again, that one felt... It's maybe looks... It'll sound silly
It's
for me to say it
extreme.
felt
That's how I
close.
describe it.
But that one felt close even with that opening. So let's see what can happen now for Nightmare. Of course, on that Quest Warlock. And Norwis rocking the Druid now. And what's the deal with this Druid, Saul? Because I don't think this is something we've seen too much of. Across the submissions, I mean, from tons of players. It's not one of the more popular ones,
No.
right?
No, it has been interesting. There has been a little bit of it around on ladder, but it's always been it's been a bit tricky for the last few weeks to kind of ascertain which decks you're seeing on ladder are like serious threats, because it's a non-competitive ladder season in terms of qualifying for points. So there's been a fair bit of casual play even in the higher
still
ranks of
burning,
Legend. But there has been a bit of a
It's really much easier if it didn't stay on your tongue and kept burning for 10 minutes.
Hang on, we'll get
Like
to
no
this
matter
in a
what you
second.
do, it's like
But yeah, this is another aggro deck that fits the aggro strategy that Norwis is going
it's
for.
like a deal with.
Not quite as all in as the Demon Hunter. A little bit more ability to go long and sustain because of the permanently scaling hero power.
I'm so dizzy, Sean.
But like I said, just lacks that reach if you can force it off board. that's where it can
I've
start
done
to fall
worse, but
apart.
honestly, it
It
doesn't feel
needs
much
that
worse.
consolidated
No
minion
Carolina
presence turn after
Reaper.
turn to really start pushing
Cheese
damage.
flips.
However, great start here from Norwis, just chucking out the 2-4 immediately and just saying, "Hey, I've looked at your deck list. There is
Something
not
you're
a
going
card
through
in there that
was
deals
like-
with
Yeah.
this, so I'm just going to get this in play, ramp up the size of my hero powers, and just start generating massive threats straight away." Nice stuff.
Yeah, good start for Nightmare as well, though. Like, I think the location is one of the things you love to see early game, right? Because you just know it's stuff
100%.
you can play, right? It's progressing your quest, it's creating board, and as we've seen, some of the one drops are pretty impactful in certain matchups. So, it's so good to see that as an
You want me
opener
to
here,
show you?
and we'll see what work it can get done. Of course, going to
Yeah,
discover
it feels like Shadows and
first.
Units on an opt-out.
Okay. Okay, did go for Slither Spear.
Slither Spear.
I was looking at the Worgen, honestly.
Yeah, stealth has a lot of upside there in terms of being able to dictate attacks on your own turn.
Also, funny enough, chose to go for the tap instead of going for Glacial.
Oh. Whew.
Yeah, I mean that Glacial can prevent
Oh, it's in my
6,
nose.
7, 8,
Woo!
10 damage later on in the game, right? So
I guess, yeah. I'm just wondering if you're trying to defend the board you've got
I was
at this
panicking.
point, right?
yeah, I mean certainly you can do a decent job with just taking out the 2-3 via minion
gonna help.
presence, and that will certainly stop you taking damage from giant minions as well if there's one less of them in play next time.
Got hard to interpret Shadow, not type anything, but
Oh, what a draw!
Yeah. Doesn't get much better than that.
4-4. And that is now a disgusting opener for this deck, all leveraged off the fact that Norwis just instantly jammed the sing-along buddy in play, just knowing that there was no way in deck for Nightmare to be able to deal with it.
Oh, the fact they're 4/4s as well, right? It's just such a nightmare. It's like just not being able to hellfire them away. Gonna go hellfire into Glacial Shard now. And then, the Horizon's Edge next turn looks decent. And there it is. Tree.
oh no. I have some coffee milk here.
This is going to be pretty nice, though. Horizon's Edge can
Well, that's
potentially
it.
deal with a lot of this, especially with the ability to trade
Oh,
into the
Jesus Christ.
2-1.
I don't have anything else.
Symbiosis is going to be
Let's put up my
picked up
pain.
here for Norwis.
I think I'm gonna faint.
Nothing
I'm so dizzy.
fantastic coming out of this.
My consciousness is 70%.
Double wolves, some board presence there. Yeah, nothing great. Always probably doesn't want the Dormant because wants to really finish Nightmare off before this portal gets going.
So my tongue, so my lips, and yeah, the
Yeah,
throat
just
and
gonna go
stomach is
for-
like having an intense experience.
Could still, yeah, I was gonna say, could still be trail mix and hero power though.
Yeah,
It's like having an upset stomach. Oh, that
It
works.
just seems better, right? Oh, you get to kill a 2/2, okay, whatever. Instead, you could just be pressing that 5/5 every time and gaining all the extra mana for next turn. 'Cause it does have
yeah,
a
just ramps you out to the Malorn as well.
exactly, yeah. Ooh, Solarium though.
It's pretty much
Okay.
nothing left in the bottom now.
Yeah, that's huge.
This is Spelunker, I think. Yeah.
Spelunker.
I'm not afraid of the dark.
one can get the Underfell Rift into the. Wait, is that active? Oh no, it's 2 left.
No, it's 2 left, and the other one's already full. It just doesn't quite work out.
So close. I guess it's still tempo, right? You'll take anything playable, minion-wise.
Yeah, take a 2-2.
Build a pretty big board here now. Sacrifice this. Sacrifice the last one into the rift.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm pressing the button here.
Such a huge Solarium. Norwis's
Yeah.
start was so
was
powerful.
spicy,
That was
spicy thing I
the
ever done.
one-off turn that Nightmare
that was
needed
worse than the.
to get ahead of this.
Does have Malorne
Now
tree
all of a
though.
sudden this Malorne just not looking quite as exciting as it would have done otherwise. I mean Tortola, but who cares? It's just not. It's not breaking through the wall at this point. I don't think. You don't really have the payoff for an Agamagan.
My vision is blurry, my hearing is
I guess
impaired.
it does have to be Tortola.
Yeah, it's something, right? Compared to the others, like it's achieving something,
Yeah.
which I've heard is better than nothing.
Time waits for no one.
Yo, the crabs.
And now I'm going to be honest with you. Can't remember what's in the pupil exactly. Did the Solarium make it?
I think the Solarium might have been the 3rd card to activate it, yeah.
Oh no.
No, it's Catacombs. Okay, sure.
I'll be honest as well. Kind of forgot about Quest.
Yeah. Quest pretty
Yeah,
much
I just
always
don't-
ends up in there.
yeah,
If it's far left of the hand like that, it
Yeah,
has a Quest in
yeah.
it. Oh!
There's
Royal
definitely something that
Librarian!
Kaneki tried to escape
Yeah,
from.
It's
He's
the
a god.
clutchest Royal Librarian I have ever seen in my life. Nice
The Royalist.
130, idiot.
Yeah, the royalist of librarians, I think. Doing a great job though of soaking that Horizon's Edge is that,
mean,
that
yeah,
turtle. Is there like again? Hit me again.
Not gonna lie, the location is a little bit pointless at this
Yeah.
point.
It was more important that was the last charge to get it out of off the board, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A double reborn taunt.
Ugh.
Not tons going on for Norwich here.
Must have slept in.
Okay, not
to
a
start
bad time to start drawing the mass productions.
Yeah, and got to start keeping an eye on these double corpsicles, right? This is going to start stacking very quickly, damage-wise.
It sure is.
Depending on what... Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was just going to say, depending on what this portal spits out, Nightmare can ignore the board, right? As long as there was a way to just
Yeah,
maybe stop
100%.
that one Jade, then you just go on face,
give
just
out.
absolutely throw it out there. You've got corpsicles. You can even throw this out to clear something else as well for the questing assistant. Again, dealing 3, fantastic. Taking a lot of pressure off the board, putting Norwich to 5. And Sol, I'm not a specialist on this Druid deck, but it's looking grim.
I'm just going to do a quick check for
Shag that like I
double
was a jackass, you know?
librarian tree click into Crazed
welcome to
Alchemist,
pain.
which would be lethal here. I'm just going to
I
check
wasn't being
the
like
deck
doubting
list
or
for that.
being insecure or scared or a little
No,
bitch.
it's not there. I'm
Nope,
out of
yep.
ideas.
Yeah. Oh wait, Zephyr's here. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Was talking a lot. It
And
wasn't
that's what's so good about this
wipe things
portal.
out.
Look at this board. Let's
Of course.
say Norwich clears half of it, or a chunk of it, whatever. Then Well, the
Next
portal's not
time,
even
try
best
something
yet.
spicier.
And that can get charge or rush, right? Which
My reckon is
then
200,000
adds to the
still
removal
in,
or damage
ships,
factor,
habanero
which is
ships,
so
burning
big.
pain.
And like, I think that's what's just really strong. It's just
Look like this.
unstoppable. As long as the player has access to cards, which it's Warlock, so it does, it's just unstoppable minions every single turn. Okay, big taunt there with the Mark of the
Yeah.
Wild. That's pretty nice.
It's the Mark of the Wild back on the Tortollan, but it's not growing anymore like it was previously, where it actually became a pretty significant threat in its own right.
Very nice.
And the thing as well
But
is that to an
Hero powers are
extent,
getting real big.
yeah, to an extent, as long as Nightmare can clear off maybe some
Would I
of
do
the
that?
other stuff, I guess there's just the one taunt to clear off right now. Tap, okay.
Should I shag the whole bottle? Next time I'm gonna shag the whole
So what we're looking
bottle
at
of
here,
hot
it's
sauce.
double Corpsicle to face and just don't
I'm
die.
thinking about it a lot.
right?
That would be plan A if you can make that happen, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, the 4/4 taunt goes down easily. The 327's not going down at
I
all.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's what, 10, 16, 19, 23. But there's already
So you
two
make-
taunts up, one with Reborn, and you can
Anything else
potentially
interesting? Yeah,
lifesteal
this was
with the
the
ball.
ships.
Yeah, you make your 2 spaces and you chuck your Dark Marrow into the rift.
Come on, just give me the. I already Googled
Yes.
this. Right? Very taste. Honestly, I can recommend these baseball tape. Best cheese flips I've ever had. So cheesy, so toasted. It's like it's being grilled
Oh,
or
actually,
something.
is there still a...
There they are.
Yes, there is. There is a Hellfire still remaining in the deck, which makes
Oh, so that would've-
drawing
yeah,
it
that
a
would've
little
got
bit
that right.
worthwhile.
Is it
Okay, so that was another Reborn taunt. Oh. Please.
tastes like food poisoning?
Okay.
Now you know.
I decided to use
Sure.
one to clear
Tastes
off
like
an
something's
additional
gonna give you
minion
a
to
heart
feel a
attack,
little
like a
bit
poison.
safer.
Yeah, opponent's still at 5, still
But
have that
bro,
extra
you know
Hellfire
that
hanging around as
actually
well that you
this
can
fucking
use if you
Chili
need the extra
farm
damage,
is-
but your
is,
opponent should not be
this
able to gain a
despicable place
significant
could
amount
be
from
Beverly
here. There
Hills.
is Zephyrus that you need to keep in mind that can make some magic happen.
He combined the giant pepper with the
gonna
Carolina
have to.
Reaper and crossbred it.
You can get
Into the
Siphon
giant
Soul
Carolina
Holy
Reaper.
Nova from
Yeah, no, it's
Effect
unofficial
Board. You can
yet.
also get
It's
Ice
50%
Block from
spicier than
cards
the
that spend
spiciest
a
chili
lot
in
of
the world.
mana, which is not an out that
Right.
I ever really see anyone go for, but that is a thing.
It's
It
like
also doesn't make sense.
you go to hell for this. Somebody said I think something like
Wait a
that. And it's like yeah, I'm sure. Whatever.
Is that you? To be fair, the Doomhammer could clear off only one and push 2. I guess you can't take the hit twice, right?
What if he gets like a spiritual experience when people are eating his chilies and they're suffering? You know, maybe he gets a hint. You know.
Also, I just realised that both players running on fumes in the deck as well. I didn't really respect how quickly the
Maybe
Druid
it's
got through
like-
the list.
Yeah, I can see that would work. It would be like
Okay,
you're
rush,
preparing.
and they can go again.
Spiritual what is preparing you for the fact things will get like
It's not
worse in the world,
lethal, right?
and they tell
Am
you
I
are you ready
stupid?
for this?
Can I
You
not
know.
count?
Nope, not enough.
Nope. And if my maths... Oh,
There it is.
yep. We got there. It looks like Nightmare is going to take the victory. The aggro lineup isn't quite enough to get it done, even though it came close so many times. But Nightmare taking the victory. The Quest Warlock just about getting there. Just enough healing, just enough damage. And again, double Corpsicle just getting through the work, right? Ignoring those taunts, obviously, because it's a spell. And the nature of Corpsicle's interaction with the portal is perfect, right? Because you're just
Always
gaining
follow down the
corpses
stairs of
all the
credit card
time,
games.
which is really, really huge. So
Don't
great
forget,
job for
chat, your
Nightmare
best
there.
card is your
Rough
credit
one for
card.
Norwis, came close so often, but I think overall Nightmare just did really, really well at
Gambling
holding
for
off the
kids.
aggression,
This game
as
never
well as pushing the damage to
stealing,
set up
like,
the
yeah.
lethal on his side at the same time.
I'm just looking at the Zephyrus pool, trying to get some idea of the outs. There is Mass Dispel, which I think does instantly win the game there in Effect Battlefield. There's also Shadow Madness, which is
Oh, okay.
kind of interesting, right? Because then you only have to deal with one of the taunts, and you can use one of their taunts to deal with their taunts. You keep the reborn from it on your
Yeah.
side. Not sure if that ends up being lethal. Might still be a couple of points, short. Other than that, I don't think Shadow Flame gets there. Swipe might have still been close. Deals with both of the remainders of the Reborn and pushes another 4 face. Interesting stuff.
There's a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Nightmare did well overall. I do like that he was walking that line that was defensive, but still having that future sight to like set up lethals, right, and not actually just not going full defensive. Because sometimes that loses you the game just as often as being too aggressive. So really like it overall. So great job for Nightmare, and that is the EMEA region done. We are going to get ready to move over to America. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Hearthstone.
I was born to fight Travis Lawless land Tushin Claw. You have superpowers, you said fair. I have wings, I can fly, flap the swings. Yeah, you really look like a pigeon. I also made you beer, you put a foot on a vagabond and drink a pigeon. Eragon is an NPC here. Let's look at this.
So starts out strong.
Blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fox Peach, man.
Nice shield. Neither Armada have a chance to do an aerial. Hey, smack.
Go up. Yeah.
Ooh,
Nice catch.
over the rainbow through the woods.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Good recovery. So Mango.
Armada trying to zone out. Nice fair. Catches him with the jab.
Mango's
Here we go.
taking time with his approaches.
Interesting. I don't know if the jab was the cover there. Probably could have done that smash.
Ooh, caught him in the crouch.
Yep.
Go turn up.
Ooh,
Yep.
And there we go. 40%. Not too much.
Close game, man. Armada could definitely bring it back. It's just all it takes is
Take
one
out
down
so much
smash.
manly
Nice.
nice.
Mango's so good at that. Doing the aerial and then shielding after.
When you turn like a manly bird or like a piece of
Not easy to
beer.
do.
Yeah.
Gotta read the smash GI there. So that's probably one of the
But
harder
the
things to
Swedish
do
beer,
Fox
for
Fury.
example, tastes extremely average.
For all you sheiks out there hating on
That's
Oh,
called
yep.
Nice smash, beautiful. Good crouch cancel.
Mango.
Multi-shine.
It's good.
Oh, the Shane Alexander looked
Mango's
like
think he's
before.
so fire if he wins.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
so
Mango
fucking
Shane,
manly
you know, he's
drinking
getting at
this
least
beer. You feel like
3,000 viewers.
Oh yeah, if he wins.
Solo
introverted
stream,
animal.
Solo Mario Kart.
Predator. No.
Oh,
Replace
Armada
it
says
with
there's
a
no
smaller
word.
bird, and you have
Yeah,
something very silly.
I got the GPS.
I got
Much less
I got
manly,
Google
like
Maps.
pigeon, drink
I see
pigeon.
everything.
We have the Millennium Falcon.
okay.
At the
Star
dagger.
Wars, just name it the Millennium Pigeon.
Gets hit.
Take out the
grab.
fucking
Nice
base
DI though
beams.
by Mango to avoid the down smash.
Yep.
When you DI the up throw forward, you get a. If you DI backwards, it's like guaranteed down smash.
I've seen Armada get it forward too, but I think
Yeah,
if
you
DI
can, but it's just harder, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't hit.
Nice tech on that. Oh, catches him with the nair. And here we go. Armada with the lead. In the crowd's hearts in his hands.
Yeah. As usual,
Yep.
as the entire crowd cheers for Mango.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh,
Doesn't
good
miss
fair.
the tech too, but doesn't matter.
He catches it.
Oh.
Mango, see, this is a hard part in these matchups when you're Fox, man. Just trying to wrap
And,
this
and that's
up.
usually what Mango has over most Foxes this year.
That was a
He'll
very
find way to
fire
get these
right
kills,
there. It
But
was like-
even him struggles sometimes.
It's kind of like what we were saying about Fox Falco.
Yep.
It's like that with the floaty. When you're the Fox,
Yeah.
you know, you'll rack up like 130 super easy and then, you know, take 60 trying to get the kill.
Yep.
But as we say that, see, he got that damage so fast,
Yeah, it's
right?
super easy to get that damage, but the closing. But you
Yeah,
gotta
it's
close,
like the
baby.
close is gonna
You
be
gotta
hard.
close. Oh, wonder what Mango
Yeah,
trying to do out of shield
crazy
there.
down
Nice
tilt.
down tilt. Tough DI spot to be in.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Oh. And the combo there on the platform is very tough because Mango could DI away harder, but then he's off stage.
It's not
So
the
he has
joke.
and that lets Armada get
You know,
two
with
hits.
making
He's
like
off stage.
squab, drunk
Yeah,
and
it's like
squab,
damn,
and
you
making
did.
smaller
You know?
versus mashed potatoes so fucking
Knife for gun, baby.
good.
1,000 ways
Monster
to die.
chefs, you should try to deep
Stadium.
frying a
Nice.
pigeon.
Instead of Yoshi's, I think Taflo's kind of talked him into this. That's the Taflo effect.
You know what was interesting? Last set they went he struck Battlefield.
Kind of cute, the arm.
He
Like,
did?
Yeah. As a
so
counter.
loving.
I was wondering why.
Oh, yeah.
I love that float.
Yeah, me too. Can't get up there. His character's not that
Eat
good.
vegan pigeon
He's
shots.
super slow.
Eat
Slow as
vegan.
hell.
Oh, tough
Up
position for
dog,
Mango to get around.
Tech read in air or no bear.
Nice ledge
Nice
shot.
legs. Look. Mango
Zach,
dash?
Zach, I thought he told you they couldn't do it from the left.
Yeah, Zach definitely said that. Shout out to Zach.
Yeah, let's go. Up throw.
Oh.
Back air, yep. All
Oof.
nice again. Some very clean stuff. I heard once they're stale, there's not.
Well, this one be better actually. This is the gorilla. Fuck.
We were doing that.
Oh, yeah. we
The
were.
wall beat with Shruby Boom. Uh-oh. There you go.
And transformation time, perfect. Armada. Oh, doesn't. I think Armada. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Played it. So this is a good chance for Mango, I think. I think you've always talked about when you're spacey, you always play the
Oh,
first
yeah,
player.
this is the part where you need to just aggro it up.
Yeah.
This stage is highly in your, like, how's is not in Mango's favor
Such
right
a
now?
ball.
Super.
This is why it's a counter pick, right?
Yeah, this is what makes it a counter pick.
Yeah. So if you, like, squander
Yeah.
and just,
And
like,
look how
wait.
much Armada's struggling right now. in
Yeah,
this part.
he's going to try to go all in.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to play.
That's the only way.
He doesn't want to play.
Yeah, let me play.
Is that Joe? Who's that? That Alex? Here we go. But at the same time, that gives Armada a chance to pull the stitch. Drill there. All right. The back airs.
Oh,
That's
nice
oh.
S dash.
Unfortunate Mango
Mango
needs to-
getting the
You know,
14
I'm
frames.
parts in the
Can he
rest
get a kick?
Swedish way. Should also power.
Mango's at Fox has such a good 0%. The crowd's getting hyped. Got
Yep.
some lasers. Just roll away. No, just takes a step back.
Okay.
And they both back off there.
And
Where you going? Where
yeah.
you going?
Where you going, son?
Go on, baby. Let me talk to you.
Best player in the game.
Best player in the game, baby. You know what we really have here is we have the best teams player versus the best singles player.
Oh, dude. Hey, Armada won teams today.
Yeah, he did. He's going for the double.
He's going for the double, man. The classic. Oh, see, yeah, you're right. Up smash. There's no reason why.
Yeah, because he made it easier.
Or shine at a shield.
Yeah, Mango
Oh,
don't
no,
got
Mango's
it.
on
Mango
that.
don't got it like that. Now with Fox or Falco. Again, they've got a good transformation.
Talking
KJ
to,
just saying how Mango
Cat.
could just ledge dash and shine a shield. He'd be so broken.
Yep. Just do what every modern 2017 Fox could do.
Right.
He would be really good.
Uh-oh. That's scrapping.
It's a two dumb, it's
Linda.
too dumb actually.
Yep.
Watch it.
Oh, we got recovery, though.
Oh.
Oh.
That's why you like the stage, right? You just got beat up. All right, so,
So
let's
then-
see.
yeah.
So this is where someone like most Foxes would be like, I'm about to take a game off Armada. I don't know if
Right.
I could do it, but Mango.
Uh-oh. And
Oh.
Armada, he's fishing. He's
cheat-
reeling them in.
Cheesing him, baby.
Hey, sometimes you got to, man.
Oh my
What
god!
kind of cheese?
Can he kill him? Can Mango kill him? So he's being very
He's
very
trying.
cared.
They're making impression.
No, he rolled.
Let's fucking
Again.
go!
He almost threw that game.
He's just not
That's
good off the
Ricci when
ledge.
he
Oh, no, she's
Especially-
terrible.
fucking
especially
CBT
over
from
100.
Daisy.
So
He's
USA.
Let's fucking
he
go!
So it's a big high.
Peach is terrible. Peach is terrible off the
Oh. Hasn't
U2K. U2K.
hasn't done this since What the Fox, right?
Yes.
It works.
He went black for the king, I guess.
Yeah, is that UGC?
UGC? UGC?
Now it doesn't want to deal with the chain grabs.
Respect.
I think he's always felt like he can handle Armada really strongly and neutral, so I don't think he's worried about his punish game as much.
Uh-huh.
And we'll see if he can get the kills though.
Yeah.
The damage is again, it's kind of the same thing though. The damage isn't the issue, and Mart's even harder to kill with.
Right, right.
That hair is amazing.
Can I get a picture? Yeah, of course, Thank you so much, man. A big fan. I've been following you for years.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Oh, God, I forgot my wife. All right, welcome back, folks. Today we're in Manchester. You can tell because it's raining and really bleak, but we're outside a place called Kong's,
That's objectifying.
where every Tuesday they do all-you-can-eat tacos. So naturally, I'm here to try and break the house record, and if you do, you get a bottle of Bolly. When you get inside, see if we can smash the record. Let's get it! All right, I'm here with Tom from Kong's, which is in Manchester, where they do all-you-can-eat tacos. The record for one sitting is 24 tacos, right? If you can beat 24, you get a bottle of fizz and a shirt. Yeah. Which I did not know. I didn't know that at the start, so that's pretty exciting. They come in rounds of 5, right? Yeah. You have to finish 5 tacos, then you get your next 5, and there are 5 different flavors of taco that you can order. So you can order like a different flavor each round.
You change your flavor each round, yeah.
Sweet. That'll come in handy. Fight the old flavor fatigue. Blue's getting his dad bod out. Have you got your nipple pierced? Thought you had his nipple pierced? What do you reckon? I'm not stretched out. I didn't get my normal, my very dependable Cobra pose routine in. Go on then. No, I don't want to do that. I'm seated now. If I get up, then think that we're ready, right?
That could be your downfall, right?
Yeah. If I can do 50, I probably shouldn't say it, should I? All I need to do is 25. If I can do 50, I'll give. What's a fair amount?
All right, so 50 for £100 charity. That's the bet.
Yeah.
You kind of laid your own bed there, so you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, well, I'll yeah. You. I don't think I'm gonna do 50 now. I'm getting old, man.
It's a lot, mate.
Ooh, here we go. It's delicious, brother. Thank you. I'm gonna I don't know. I keep saying brother, and I think it's because I'm like 38 now.
What you gotta do,
I can't say dude anymore. Like at this age, you can't say dude. So what do you say? Man, bud, pal, brother. It smells delicious. It smells a bit like a Big Mac, actually. Like the chicken Big Mac. Right, the first taco.
Thank God for Mexican food. It's so much better than Swedish salmon and potatoes, you know, white sauce. We have nothing like. People are like, it's mid.
Tell you what, they're very tasty.
It's mid-spring in Sweden. What do we drink? We
I think judging
do
by the
shots
pictures,
of
the fried chicken ones are the biggest.
absolutely terrible vodka, like
Next round
alcohol.
might be a little bit easy. We'll see.
What's it called again? And then we eat fish and potatoes, and then there's midsummer with fish and potatoes and herbed and spiced liquor, so you can drink it. This tastes good now.
Well, do you have any napkins? Thank you. Or like a towel, any kind of rag. I should probably wait until after I've done
we
the
have
last
nothing,
taco.
so
right?
celebrate
I
Oktoberfest
can
as
feel
well.
my beard's a bit grubby.
It's a beer fest, actually, technically.
Round
and it's
number 1
poor.
almost done.
Eat sausage and pretzels and go to IKEA, Lidl.
See, the thing about this is, there's really no way to eat tacos and not be a complete pig about it. Did the chef just say, has he done 5 already? Yeah, sorry guys.
That's really helped us. It's
Round number 2's here.
so we have some time.
Thank you very much, mate.
We got the Korean barbecue pulled pork, so
Korean.
kimchi, Korean pulled pork, and QP gochujang.
Nice.
That's some fancy
Oh,
tacos.
nice and soft. These ain't gonna last long.
It's this fucking vinegar in a taco. It works though. It really does. Spicy, you know.
Well, boy.
You have
You
to
sold me
instead
out
of
here, man.
cheating.
These are spicy.
You have to have halloumi and fucking
Jesus, that looked like back of my dog's ass.
Yeah, this guy's account, he should stop talking, his chat, comment section.
Honestly, man, I don't know why I pay you people to do this. I'm just gonna take it back to filming by myself. Those are clean.
Ah, they're filming in Manchester. We're the only people who have IQ about the shoe size of the football
Don't
players.
have to do any more of those. Oh, that was a mistake.
How's that?
Hot. It's alright, man. It's alright. Makes it more interesting. This chef wants to kill me. Tell you what, I'm pretty confident at 50.
What's the record again? 24?
24.
Like, I could do 24.
I like
Yeah,
to
but
go
everyone
for
says
4
that, man.
and
That's what you
5, you know.
When you listen to Tom, he said like everyone comes in and says.
Extra large tortilla tacos, mini tacos.
If you do this, you beat a record if you do one more wing. I know that.
It's really with like
You
cucumber
did
and
45,
tomato
they were very
paprika.
reasonable with you about the debris. You could have probably made like an entire rotisserie chicken from your debris.
To be fair, I do agree. I reckon Josh could do this job.
You know, honestly,
I don't pay you
it's
people
like
for your
what's preventing
opinions.
me to buy
I pay you for your camera
meat and tacos,
expertise.
the fucking price.
No, pulled beef.
It's like 10 euros for just 3 tacos worth of mince. What the fuck is
Nice.
that?
Thanks, man.
This one's my favorite.
This is your favourite?
Even,
Trying to get some
even
of the liquid off
despite
so he doesn't make
how
another crack
shitty
about his dog's
capitalism and the prisons and the quality and efficiency has made
Shut up.
meat today, it's still fucking expensive, man.
That was inevitable.
Should it be cheaper though? No, maybe not.
Try and one bite this one.
Let's just marinate some fucking soy cubes or something.
Oh, what?
Lime and pepper is very tasty with vegetarian tacos. I don't know if you guys even think it's cool that I talk about this stuff, but you know, I'll do it.
I think that's my second favourite so far. We're just getting started, boys. Just getting started. What's that, mate? Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever's easiest.
I have a completely different worldview, right? From all
When he
this,
sees the vegetarian option.
all this,
Ooh, I love
this
that little bit of
path,
jackfruit. Give it to me.
dream path I've taken, you know, 10
Said
years
no one ever.
vegetarian. And now I'm a shitty
work in your
vegetarian
posterior
eating
chamber.
sometimes.
And increase your body temperature. I can see nipples. How big are your nipples? Sorry. Thanks, mate. Thank you. This is the lamb.
So it's like a lamb, like a vegan alternative.
Ah, looks
Yeah,
like
probably, yeah.
a vegan version of lamb.
Yeah.
Right. Vegan option.
Yeah, he's nice here and says like, yeah, it tastes good. I don't know how they make the fucking vegan sauce. It's gotta be difficult, man. I don't know. If I would do it. You guys see the world a different way. You see like flavor, and you see meat as normal. Like you don't see meat as like bad
Some
for your
vegan
health.
food I actually
Same way you
enjoy.
don't see it as bad for the
It's
environment.
the plastic cheese I don't like. You know when you get that?
You see it as a product without
Fortunately,
any
this
consequence.
has
You
no
know,
plastic cheese in
nobody's
it.
dying or anything.
Butterscratch. Tis butterscratch.
I can't even know where to start.
He's a good one though. Don't eat meat 3 times per day. That's what the meat industry wants you to do.
They are
Breakfast,
really.
lunch,
Did you see
dinner.
those nipples? That was a big man. We're about 33 minutes in, I think. We need to pick it up to get to 50, I reckon.
We got the lamb
Oh, thanks, man.
with the hummus.
This is the spicy one.
Yeah, it's a spicy one. It's homemade hot sauce.
A proprietary blend of hot sauce. Who knows how hot this could be? Doesn't feel too bad. I think probably much to the disappointment of people watching, it's actually not that hot. I feel like the Korean one was hotter than this. This is the record
Looks
equal in
different when he's
taco,
eating, when he has
if
a
I'm not
huge
mistaken.
beard and mustache. He looks more like a shoot, a Trash shoot.
I can't stop it, I'm still hungry. I'm legitimately still hungry. Mmm.
Oh, here it is. Oh. Oh, go on. Look at that, eh? Restaurant goes wild.
Three people in the restaurant went wild. We're not going to stop there though, because I'm still pretty peckish. I think we could keep it going just a little while longer.
Keep the trade moving.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time left, I think.
That you?
Oh, thanks, man. 5 more chicken tacos there. Thank you very much, bud. These were delicious, though. I remember these fondly.
It's losing his members, getting amnesia from the tacos.
These are absolutely delicious. These are my favorite by a mile. Oh, I can't get enough of these ones.
Do you still think you could have done the chance?
It would be tough, actually.
One way to find out, though, let us know in the comments if you want to see Josh back in action on the channel. Although there was quite an over.
Whatever. Oh, sorry, maybe I should. Oh my god, it's actually going for 50. He looks like the
Alright, this is Bibby's
or
food.
something.
Spread lineup. I think there's no
Oh my
clear
God,
target
let's say
strategy
this
from
dude,
either,
that's a
either of these
fucking
players. They've just
streamer,
gone,
you know?
I'm comfortable with
Listen,
these decks.
Shaq talk about
They'll get the
brutal
wins
meta all
each
the
series,
fucking time.
which so far has proven true.
Yeah, and this
Pretty
is
strange, weird
the
guy to
only
handle,
wilted
you know,
priest
it's like-
of the tournament. So
Really, in
For
all
all-
the regions.
Like
in all the
peckish and
regions, yeah.
fleeing,
There's
you know.
one priest in
If you
EMEA,
be
which
yourself,
was
just
Protoss,
regular, say regular things. You
and
gotta
I think slightly more
confuse
for
and upset
APAC,
him.
but still no wilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very smart. This thing.
Well, I guess that just cements it as the best deck in the tournament if it's here.
Of
here
course,
in
yeah.
top
I mean,
8.
Sometimes
if
it's
Chaos Luna
impossible
makes
to
it all the way
change
to the
enough
end,
some
obviously that's
people
why.
who are
Oh,
just
for sure.
ESFJ, man.
Blob of Tar is a very interesting inclusion in the list. I've never seen that before, but I guess it's like
Still
a
awesome,
slight
though.
and more aggressive decks that you're expecting.
Yeah, I mean, between Blob of Tar and Sleepy Resident, that's a pretty hefty amount of wall for aggro decks to deal with that don't mess with your resurrection, your resuscitate.
Yeah, he's very much tech the deck for aggro. He's got double Blob, double Sleepy, and 1 Shadow Word Ruin. So I think he was going into this going, I really don't want to insta-concede to Handbuff Hunter in particular. Probably. There hasn't been nearly as much of that as I expected, at least in the top 8. I didn't see much going around in Swiss. Obviously it was a fairly popular bring, but not quite on the levels that I think myself and some others were expecting.
Yeah, I haven't checked the matchup, so I can't confirm this, but I have a feel that like it could be good into the Quest Warlocks as well.
Potentially. Yeah, because
just-
the Sleepy Resident kind of shuts them down completely, and most
Yeah,
Quest
I've
Warlocks
noticed
don't
that
have the tech we
I'm
saw
not
from last
behaving
series
normally
with the
and
Royal
being
Librarian.
myself. They're pretty easy.
Yeah, and unlike
beyond
sort of
reproach,
strict
in all
control
manner.
decks, you don't have to like just grind them out. You have
But
this
people think
counter
you
lethal
adjust to
that you
me,
can present
you
with
know.
Shadow. So.
Speaking of a counter lethal, he's
In,
kind of just beating
pretty
Span to face down
arrogant
this
ways,
game.
the ESFJ.
Just curving out with high stat minions. Span to skip the first 3 turns effectively. Had to coin out a 4-drop, which means he's a turn later on the Scoundrel, but he wasn't really left with much choice because he
That's
needs to
cool,
fight back
right,
on board
Sean?
somehow.
I mean that's kind of the downside to this build of Rogue, right? Is you've got
Yeah.
just a few early minions.
Yeah, if you don't spike one of the early minions and your opponent does curve out, then you can find yourself falling really, really far behind. And the only real comeback mechanic there is Scoundrel into Ziliax. But even if he were to survive this turn and the next, the earliest that can come down with the current hand is turn 7.
It varies great from person to person. The proper speed.
Yeah, he knows that he has
easy
no
to
way of stopping
understand and direct
11 damage
and,
sticking on board.
Do things
So just
properly,
hoping for the
Like
best possible secrets, like an ice barrier. Maybe Kayla's Luna's hand is a little bit clunky, and he relies on playing a spell, and you get a counter spell to just completely skip a turn. But this second crafter is pretty much ideal to follow up this start.
It's so exhausting. I don't like doing it. Yeah, stop doing that.
It's interesting that he did choose to play into a potential counter spell. I'm guessing he probably wouldn't have done if he didn't know for sure that the first one with ice barrier.
Right. Yeah.
Because
Reduces
otherwise,
the odds.
Yeah. He potentially could have also played the crafter first to test for explosive runes, because he was likely always going to play it this turn.
With the most effort
and then maybe if it wasn't runes, he could pivot and hold it to play around counterspell, but reasonably likely he was just planning on doing that regardless.
Why do they think I need to do this? Right.
Alright, well I guess this is a one-cost location.
Yep, he needs to find...
Discover.
Ideally, I think it was Discover and Armor, but he's missed on both from the first Discover, so... These choices do not spark joy. It's probably give your characters +1 attack so that he can take down the taunt with his weapon swing.
Ooh, yeah, I mean that's rough, but certainly the deal 3 isn't happening for a long time.
Okay, you got a Raptor as well, so you can take down the 5/4.
Nah,
but
this kind of sucks. But whatever, here's something to do. I want something to do while I'm actually agility. When I put the book into TTS. Let's go for the beginning, the first tournament. And the last stop I wrote. It's not like, it doesn't have an ending yet though. Damn it, double clicked. Damn it, double clicked again. Yeah, I get it. Some people in chat are ESFG, but like I can't really say it. Think about this. It's you think people need to act properly, but just bothering everyone. You think that people need to. I know how I deserve to be treated. They treat me like this right now, but it's impossible to do it. You cannot figure out how to do it. It's just some casual advice said casually. Don't feel too bad about it. Pirate Arc. Pirates of the Caribbean. What you really need when you're doing a pirate dog is you need to have intelligent language. Is to sing kind of like poetry, but I don't think we're thinking about the. You know, I'm not talking about describing flowers and nature poetry. You know. Like, I don't know, honestly, I feel like being productive. That's why I'm doing this right now. I want to do agility, you know.
If a bullet could not languish and conquer. Hither equals over there, to or toward this place. Thither equals over there, opposite place of hither. Thus equals as a result or consequence of this. Seth equals said. Enterth equals enter. ACHH we equals Scottish. In it equals isn't it. Historian bodybuilder James had a black body, shining as the deepest onyx, the night without the stars and constellations, abyss without an answer. Black elephants with a black sun on a canvas of terrible reflection. Black as the minds of usurpers dissolutional and secret spite insane. Black as painted black Vanta black. Well, actually maybe there were hues of grey and crispy. Being 2.2 meters tall and 170 kilos of muscle gave him gigantic legs and in extension shins because after reasonable tall lengths, it's only the legs that grow, but he didn't look like a frog, for example. He had the endurance and ease for exaggerated unfair physical work, but he was an abstract reserved thinker, contemporary and true. Rectangular glasses without frames looked teachy with his brown autumn coat, in contemporary London were allowed and audacious. He had a short feminist-looking haircut, he coloured white and had DEATH tattooed into his left knuckles and then again in WHITE on his medieval armour. He was a very muscular V-shaped gym human with 2 meters between shoulders and arms like trees. Chiseled manly face in the Chad direction, square buttocks, striated upper legs like an anatomy chart, disproportional 3D delts etc. And handsome everything, something to make the world's strongest man jealous. Having below 10% body fat can make you feel fatigue and brain fog, but James compensated by thinking he looked good. Looking into his mirror that didn't show enough of the body at any angle, he found green eyes and fell down the stairs. He had taught history in London now for 3 years. He remembered having a genius lazy brain about his future until he was attracted by leisurely university history teaching with Greek philosophy. Nothing was going to change, was it? What was unusual with this backbone linebacker build or combination wasn't endurance or speed, but the clever mind indeed, speaking and being a thinker first, a surprising giant, a nerdy 140 to 150 IQ. Being strong and smart was awesome. Obviously it felt like being kindly recognized and your best theoretical version today. If someone insults your triceps, you insult them intellectually. If someone insults your nerdy hobby, you throw him out of the window. Sometimes he was a gentle, fascinated, patient, observing, uninteractive person, seems related to strength. Being fascinated by butterflies, tear-jerking shimmering red dawns, women and the human condition. Some mistook it for complacency and insensitivity, but he could very actionable and emotional when it was finally time to act. He had a conservative energy and reservation sometimes, but believed in left ideas, now being convinced by monologuing people although giving everything a chance. Maybe he showed a less conservative side when speaking. He had a brown pet continental giant rabbit that ate vegetables for him at £100 a month, called Sigmund the Destroyer after his deceased brother Meatshank no vegetables. He had an expensive apartment in London. All apartments in London are expensive, where everything was sleek, futuristic, black and white, artsy and claustrophobic. It was just 110 square meters, but he had fit in a lot of furniture. He was materialistic about his apartment, his TV, everything had to give an impression, of course, exhausting and a look into his mind. Artist on vacation, everything had a place. It's like the start of the Fight Club movie. He was good at memorizing parts of history. He had the complete history of the world series, memorized gistly in 15 books, but thought it didn't go deep enough. What was the point of the left revolutions of South America? That's more important. Turns out when you're a thinker you like getting to the bottom of why and how things work, fascinated and unrelenting, unwavering, as you need it, every thinker taking the same path, not noticing each other. Curious in a way doesn't always make sense and exhausting to exert and listen to, but to get things going sometimes you need to have an extra fire lit under you. If you miss the chance to be thorough intellectually, you might miss the differentiating part. Every personality, maybe out of 16, has their own kind of introverted under fire, and a time to fit the intensity. 95% of people are thinkers. We're not chimpanzees, thought James, mixing his protein powder with cocoa powder and creatine in a white tank top. The V-shape gleamed good in contrast to the white. The room was comfortably dimly lit and would tell him to sleep if he had listened deeper. In recovery for perfect recovery, he was in his routine of gimming and reading, both making him smarter, vascular and, through, language. The feeling was light, hovering and lightly touching subjects. Was everyone impressionable who wanted to change the world a feeler then? More feeling than they thought maybe, so many people are just not impressionable or concerned. James was an ENTP Myers-Briggs personality, great personality writing, concerned with ideas, future and theory, math, science, logic, T, abstract instead of practical, N, worse at certain realistic things, but debating and innovating, thus changing himself and his surroundings into his future. P, and then E for extroverted. The future, it depended on his intelligence. As an idea person, an ENTP's first run at an idea isn't their best, it's their last, all come out unfiltered. He was a man of constant improvement, performance and even perfection when unbalanced. It's a different world than people who are just meeting the week's ends, maybe assertive in wealth or privilege, or who live for vacations outside of work or excitement and risk. For those that live perfectly confined in the illusions of society and those who don't. It's painstaking eternal cleanse, existing for the future and not the rewarding present, easily finding impossible goals, fit ambition and never recognition quicker. When you're a thinker you spend your whole life learning for the sake of learning, comparing and improving, always out of reach. Although when balanced he turned insightful, surprisingly him too, another idea for sharing. The introverted side people didn't see was that of a book reader, mathy and strategic, like a brilliant scientist, more dry logical. The introverted logical part of the thinkers is completely dry, even without creativity and intuition. Climbing societal ladders quietly, more so than the primary extroverted side, interacting with the world, and gave him the resources and strategy to do so. It felt competitive but didn't have as much primary resources as some other people do. The very feeling indeed is auxiliary. In lack of ability against the chessboard masterminds INTJ, for example, they feel they just need more time, or that they're still onto some good stuff. Every personality using their secondary function feel like they're onto some good stuff. Enjoying expanding the limits of his
What is the best personality type?
Enjoying expanding the limits of his knowledge and intelligence, he had a thirst for knowledge that was hard to understand unless he was learning. Like a voice telling him to inappropriately do something insanely silly. Everyone's eccentricities and quirks make sense when they're doing the right thing. He could spend time with people, drink and cheer, but also a long time alone as an ambivert. Ambiverts get energy from people but are too sensitive to keep it for long. He was an intellectually overexcitable, typical in intellect, imagination and psychomotor. Incredibly, excellent active mind, extreme desire to understand truth, to analyze and categorize and think about thinking. He could be a lone wolf, but not as bad as the introverted thinkers. The ENTP is the extrovert with the biggest introverted side. Their minds is a fine place to be alone with, not just the existing world. First twist. James had a body he had carefully built with steroids over the last 10 years with a brilliant eccentric theory to training, researched like a scientist and best of the best knowledge of nutrition that few really knew about. Just look at these natural athletic performance enhancers. Sometimes pivoting in books he felt lucky to read. What are stupid things to do? When you take steroids you lose your mind, not just your dingleberries. Liver thinks you're an alcoholic. He had figured out a way back with foods that increase learning speed and problems, but if there was only a way, like with magic, things could be solved. Thankfully this is a fantasy book. For now he was a monster. He knew every number that could be given to a muscle, every thought to theoretical, and time for every exercise and intensity. The strongest nerd. Right now he was thinking, how much does variety help versus the best exercise for every muscle group? Cocoa powder gave as much grip strength as creatine. Athletic performance enhancers were sometimes cheap too, and he used for anti-cancer properties, etc. He used 6, like nutritional yeast, spirulina algae, black peppermint oil, fenugreek tea seeds, maca roots, ashwagandha, rosenroot and a nitrate diet, giving him a whopping 50 to 60% increased athletic performance, exactly endurance, speed and strength. The legs went by themselves. Repetition was a thing in theory, and he had a huge advantage over other steroid users. He liked the atmosphere, aluminum can sound and the smell of the plastic mats at the gym. Gym luxury affected him a lot. like there's the reward he's looking for his efforts. Thusly, Pinnacle Beast Musculum felt like he could just add more and more weight on some muscle groups. It really was an unbreakable endeavor. Like a hero, he was supposed to have this perspective and position. He was a gym monologuer, ever chiseling at the perfect gym session and advice. Philosophized, did he feel right in the muscle contracting, or was it a fake distraction? Which contraction is a distraction? His small perfect packages of advice, like a tweet max 280 letters, in the gym, the ENTP being the best to synthesize their thoughts into coherent, well-worded exactly what they meant. Twist 2. He fought in old-fashioned medieval games, knight style. They really exist as long as you can afford the armor and don't hit below the belt. He got excited for the Knight World Championships as much as anything. His first weapon of choice was polearm because it could be used as a spear, slice on the front or hammer at the back. Secondly, a giant Japanese two-handed katana, nodachi, he wore in one hand. The dual wield was unrelenting and looked truly menacing. He could swap the wield for defense, an elongated thick glaive shield, meaning it was sharp as a sword in the end. Often you can smack, stun and stab with your shield in combat. There is more to this simple defensive position. Maybe the enemy is so within the reach of the shield length, yet trying to go through. Full black-grey plate armor, gilded gold some places as a third color, or arms and legs free, both had their advantages. Better with a shield than armor if I could just choose one, thought James strategically, masterfully and a bit playful competitive. Block and slash where my arms go. A crowd favorite was his armored boxing. Everyone loved Knight's boxing furiously. Some of these guys stun like a warhammer with their fists. With weapons like the polearm, James also put 4 1-decimeter glaives into his right gauntlet. A polearm is only dangerous at the pointy end. Closer attacks were stabbed with his gauntlet George Unicorn Pants. Everything changed like a chapter, but not yet, where one evening after medieval games he heard someone sniggering in his computer corner. There was nothing there. It seems he was being sent incredibly suggestive Gachi Muchi songs. There goes another one. Something was just too ridiculous to keep a straight face. Specifically trying to communicate, what is this you're listening to, human? Revealed in silly overtime, James stretched out his hand into his apartment nothingness and felt temperature difference, cold, something wet, suction and stretching of his mind. That could only mean aliens. Deducted panicky James, they must be serious sternly as per needed basis, but this through sensitivity that too ridiculous for the paid work. What be thine alien, grey, Scandinavian? James had been scientifically open to aliens because of the prominence of 1,000 planets with life conditions like Earth. Look at the pollution they exert into the atmosphere. But what do you do now when you actually meet one now? Stop sending out shuttles looking for life. We're right here, I admit it. James thought, can you think what I think, and then said it. And feel what you feel, Jim Human. He looked like a mix of grey alien and something taller forsooth. Did you figure out time travel yet? James was ready to have a pleasant, well-mannered conversation. Just recently, the humanist voice answered, it was unexpectedly difficult, like learning a new language, difficult, like being unable to master. Time, space, dimension, machine and spiritual opening at the same time, not a lot of people thought of that. It can't happen to me, and let me guess you cannot show thus. No, human, think of 5 reasons why. Unexpectedly and tiresome, James pulled out a gun. I wish there was a time where a bullet didn't win against every duel, thus and everything. The alien took his wrist, coldly threatened, and he was indeed pulled through a cascade of time and colors, but it felt like his feet were still on the ground. He had been transported to medieval London 1,000 years ago. He was ostracized with a katana adachi and 18 bullets in a time of arbalist and warhammer, blood and ice, wine and piss. Fitting in his full mail, but lacking a morning star, he had been practicing so much consistently, his mind had really fitted to bludgeoning, then to racial thought. He had written about a cosmopolitan black London man in a time of theory and tolerance, but now things were cerebral. There was still racism and stupid people in modern eras, he thought. What he didn't know was that there were now elves. With the visor down, you could not see his melanin. He pretended to be white as cocaine in a snow crystal. With my visor down, I can play a two-faced game, reap the benefits and of carefulness. He had speedy, strange thoughts about what more you could get away with in this time. Time for heart and right and wrong to catch up to the thoughts. What it really was a kind of moral purifier, a wanting to be good in lawless desperado. He went through Lakes British, black and treacherous back into London. It was just a wee bit, a tree of hanged men and 2 lavish grey and yellow-coloured knights, gleaming like sentinels and robotic, minding their business in status. Ironically, they didn't say anything, concerned with being knights. He went towards Hayroof and Pie Bakery, a castle with a yard and perplexing medieval smells, like old furniture and sheets. At a pub, baked beans on toast, he felt retro-legendary and sucked in all information with his 5 senses. Something unusual, but he did when overcharged and overhealthy. It gave him access to overloading his senses. To his right ear, he heard a lady say, "The youth in London just want to drink and discuss football." Maybe nothing had changed, he thought. He went to the bartender with the wrong pounds and was interrupted thrice. "I'll have what he's having." A gigantic barbarian woman stood thus, in leather, muscular like a bodybuilder but less conscious, enormous 8-pack, and on her back she had a German two-hander, a Zweihander. The thing had a meter guard. Above the hilt, circular secondary ceremonial guard and a grip that was noticeably large even if you knew 2 hands could fit there. Something like Guinness, answered James in beer territory. Alcohol affected James less because he was huge muscle, but more because he had no fat cells, and the biggest abs you've ever seen. "I don't recognize your armor. What is that, from London?" "More like from another time." James paid with a whole pound, which he thought would confuse the barman. "I got this sword as a mercenary," and she eyed the holster. James thought to be a mercenary, fitting in like a sword in a woolly glove. "What do you do in it?" "I'm also a mercenary, Lady of Germany First. I'm paid by King Henry I," she said. "You have been pulled into the 100-year French-English War." As a historian, James remembered we have 2 huge parts of the French northwest coast, but would not keep them. "It's a German sword, Zweihander. It's easy enough to swing, you don't need heavy armor, people just keep their distance." "I'm a German mercenary." "It's heavyweight." "Maybe. I'm just procuring cold talk," he said as if the sword was a lightweight. "I've never lost in physical endeavors hither. Do you dare to arm wrestle a puny woman?" "Honor my streak." There was the reason. James reached out his hand and met her leathery grasp. She was strong and practiced in a way that reminded of his steroid friends. After some even fighting, James figured out he could win this. He had more strength and endurance. She used everything, weak to sudden moves although feisty. He showed a finger and put it on the table edge. With this tiny difference, James rotated his upper body 90 degrees, balanced on his finger, pulled her onto the table and slammed his fist upon it again. "Impossible," she exclaimed. "Fine streak, I'm sure. 27 arrogant men," she said. James opened his visor and made a face like a vacuum cleaner. "Gotta eat big to get big. I didn't know thine honorable knightness was white as an ice crystal in Arse Creek winter, sir. My name is Eugene thus, and your katana I know from my travels. Admit it. It's the 2-handed size, Adachi, something they have to name longer swords. I wield it in my right." James had figured out how to nullify the damages of steroids too with liver-strengthening superfood like wheat germ, quadruple green tea capsules, which ironically also should have been toxic in these doses, cardiovascular organ working food, and 2 variants of the medicine amoxicillin. With the 2 super compounds sulforaphane and spermidine, make your own joke, he figured he would come out even in longevity on top. If you repair the damage, there is no damage. But before the steroids, he was already a muscle monster, winning competitions where his opponents used them, and he had barely started training. To be the biggest, you have to already have the genetics. For example, you might respond with getting an abnormal gut. Eugene watched him do.
"Yeah, steroid gut ruins everything. Giving a huge belly. No point in taking steroids if you makes you look uglier."
Eugene watched him doze off into his mathematical world. He thought so. The surroundings seemed to slow down and said, "You need less recovery time when training your arms. They are small, relatively inexplosive. Train them like they are. Just as you eat some and work out some and rest some, you will become strong. I need to form a mold around a bullet, remove it and fill with red-hot steel to potentially get more bullets." "A what?" James showed a bullet and rotated it. Pure magic. James liked the simpleness of the medieval times. A lot of people do, but not because he liked to be simple or nothing changing. Eugene told James about the Colosseum-like tournament in the Duke's honor. Posts interestingly said 70 kilograms weight limit, knock them unconscious for 30 seconds or death. No stupid faces when unconscious. £5,000 for the winner, invitations to royal arrogance. No grifing wizards, go to Glasgow in it. Just kill everyone, be the ultimate predator, Eugene competitively said. But he had to muster something as well. It's just like the Tony games, 1-1 versus 1 at a time. You got a feeling like this would be a bad idea, maybe a setup feeling, because maybe that fighting, the best 6 or 4 could result in your death. He went in and noticed the gladiators chatting about the entrance. Sven is unstoppable. No one can stand before the dual hammer wields. There is no death sure but from Sven. The Grim Reaper has 26-inch arms and his name is Sigmund. Do you guys think I'm going to be worried about anything like this? Said James, towering, pulling a seat. Did you listen to a word we said, goon? I'm happy to tell you should just try to survive against Sigmund, dance and make him tired. We become brothers here quickly, dying brothers. The man looked in the distance. We who are about to die salute you. When the gates opened, he saw a very ironclad opponent with a hammer, Sven the shield guard. This was going to require something else than cutting. Maybe, his throat seemed wide open when he looked at least a little bit up. There is not much tanking plate mail against a hammer. He surprisingly threw his adachi like a spear arched long, but his opponent looked down as he came charging, then up again enough to deflect the giant Japanese javelin. James tried to slash his throat, but Sven looked down and deflected with gleaming metal, defiant faceless helmet and will. The announcer said fat and enjoying himself like God Bacchus. No one had seen that gap coming. We understand now James was trying to make his opponent look up. The next slice against his face knocked Sven spinning to the ground. Why did he think he could defend against that, in the moment? Maybe there was something to it, but he couldn't fully comprehend. It's about summoning enough strength, as you said you could in previous fights. James swung like a lumberjack splitting naughty wood. Twice he hammered on the ground where the Englishman fell down, rolled away just in time. Strickland propane jutsu. With a jumping kick, Sven was hit like he had been box surface grenaded. I'm faster than this. James swung overhead but fainted. The Englishman blocked overhead, and his own vision, but then got hit from the side. He got knocked to the ground badly, crushed now by the polearm. A weak shield was presented from the ground. James smashed through it. Dust filled his helmet, what felt like slow motion. Christ almighty, said the announcer, we have never seen someone like this. James got more critical hits in smashing his armor and leaving black eyes, shoulders, bruises. The Englishman swung his hammer practiced from the right. James grabbed his hammer and his polearm and threw both up. As the Englishman looked up, he slashed his throat flashily with his glaive gauntlet. James didn't have to save his opponents anymore. Right about market gardener soldier with pot helmet and more soldier weapons in the end, uppercut versus gardening weapon, but only one gets up, he gets cut. His next opponent he waited 10 minutes for. He had brilliant thoughts about fighting that were out of touch with the place. If I screw up I'm dead, he thought competitively. Maybe I should do these games where you cannot do killing. He went through his usual Tony combos in his head. No one is going to defend against all of them. Would a 95% chance to survive be worth betting on in life? How many safe bets can a man make in a game of blood and tears? What is safe in terms of dancing with swords, bludgeoning? Accidents in the upper leg. He stared at a medium-armored Englishman. He looked more Roman. Slits for eyes, steel mohawk from some animal maybe with feathers, helm width twice as long as his head, like he would catch rain, pan-looking chest plate, spiked shoulder plates forward, tower shield and gladius, no arm or shin armor. The gladius is sporting today, said the announcer preparing hype and death. James made some noise for the crowd looking like a rider of death. He slammed his polearm against his glaive kiteshield 4 times thus. His opponent taunted him, which James thought felt out of place of his mind. A person with as much armor as him would obviously be exhausting, slow. James was confident in his movement and training for his armor through, in the gym stacking 4 plates for his sit-ups and sprinting, pushing upside-down table-looking objects filled with plates and the occasional gym row. Women were more scarce. His special training his opponent did not. He was used to it like he was used to being a heavy runner. You get used to it, your muscles get stronger. 170 kilos of muscle is counterproductive sometimes. The horrible sounds of steel clanged as wills collided. James being a heavy runner, you get used to it, your muscles get stronger. 170 kilos of muscle. Sounds of met by high and getting out of reach from his opponent's weapon. The poking and backtracking maybe didn't seem to make any sense at first, but James picked up speed and elegance. The Englishman was just defending now. Suddenly a thrust went through his shoulder, then another one. With enough spear poking and speed hits usually go through, something you would not expect to not block. The Roman grunted painfully and dropped his shield. It didn't respond as it usually does. Fight me without a shield. You bore me. They fought without shields. James did a homey stock and the Englishman did good work parrying with his sword. The Roman took his polearm under the spurt IP and James his hand trying to swing the gladius. Short sword. Him not afraid to die. If this is where I die, so be it. Well said as anything. James cut off his right arm with his glaive kiteshield and plunged his knife gauntlet into his eye slit. His next opponent came just right after an announcement about local pie. It was the fast food of the ages. He was surprised to see someone a head taller but up to the challenge. The even bigger gladiator named Skegix started charging towards James. The wiser thing to do would be to get some momentum himself, but he wanted to beat him in pure power. With not normal in the moment energy, he met his opponent with a charged-up boxing-like uppercut. Skegix flew high into the air. Actually, James had uppercut his head clean off, helmet and everything. A painful endeavor, said his shoulder. After some manly chatting with nearby gladiators in the waiting hall like nothing special had happened, he was announced Robert the Hammerer. Robert was going to play offensively with his 2 warhammers. He switched arms with his polearm and put his katana in his right. Robert soon also realized he was going to be outranged. He came aggressively and would have been successful, just like before, but here he was poked back again and again by the dual wield. Dual wield EEH, said Robert Kingsley like a protagonist. You could almost see the crown. I have an army on my back. They call me Aragog the Gargoyle or Aragog the Army. James parried a hammer thrust skillfully. He thought, no, I don't want him to call me that either. Robert was good at swinging his warhammers. James didn't give him the credit that he was exceptional. It was like dodging scythe swings, aiming for your soul. James was menacing with his range, like a snake biting anything that came too close. They danced and Robert had a true shitty time. He lost his temperament and started swearing after getting stabbed 4 times in his left leg. Damn you. James sliced up his right arm, making an artwork with a few strokes. A hammer came flying. James dropped his polearm and caught the hammer flying by his right cheek. Sometimes your opponents have the mind and throw tantrums. You can trade this for my Nodachi if you want, and threw his katana tauntingly. You're making a fool out of me. Yes, James said, do you want to die as well? I would have had you. Death is too finite for the fun of fighting. Robert had a hard time using the Nodachi in one hand. After some contemplating seconds he threw his other hammer. James blocked this one with the first. Maybe I should get a belt with warhammers just for throwing, James thought with a winning mentality. Robert started calling him racist slurs in frustration. Robert was the kind to only be racist when in defeat. James thought of all those times he injected his perfect left butt cheek with steroids. You want my pole arm as well, it seems. No cur, die flashily. He threw his second hammer and it hit Robert in the stomach like a cannonball. He flew backwards 2 meters. Robert wondered if magic was being used against him. As he raised his head, a Kite shield came flying and hit him like an extended arm. Death is coming hither. What's your name? How can anyone be ready to die? That's like asking you to be ready for the unexpected. James went for a jumping hammer throw. It was so fast Robert didn't move and flew back like hit by a train. He threw his Nodachi. It pierced Robert in the non-stabbed shin. He was going for a 2-handed polearm throw when he noticed Robert was unconscious. Our fellow wins again. What do we call you? Said the announcer stupidly. Perfect butt cheeks. James raised his eyebrows. In sand mixed with blood and sweat stood an oversized bald goon next with a small wooden shield and a hooked sword. Brass fist knuckles, rough shoulder plates unfashionable, 2 small chest pieces held together by leather straps. How did you get so far, I wonder? Talk with your fists, he said stupidly. James took his Nodachi and went for an overhead. The goon stopped it with his shield and sword together, slowing it down eventually. It is a weak position of strength though, and James powered through for a face slice. James did some confusing footwork that was completely missed by his opponent, and swung from the side. The goon blocked the long katana effortlessly and bullyingly slid his shield along the blade and hit James in the face. It sounded like a frying pan. Bad measurements. Your mum gets hit by parked cart wagons, said the giant baldness. You hit like a little girl, said James, enjoying the debate. They got kicks in at the same time, powerfully knocking each other back with the opportunity. For the rest of 5 minutes the goon couldn't get near without getting cut on his arms. He disarmed his opponent with pain eventually. I had an intellectual insult, but it would have flown over your head. Like a bird. Talk with your fists, he said in the same stubborn way. Sure. Then James threw his weapons to the ground, and removed his gauntlet glaives. He looked over his shoulder at the crowd for a second, slowly taking off his chest plate and helmet like he was taking off his clothes for a shower. Both hands in the air for the crowd, they hailed him with excitement. James raised his steel forearms to his face and started doing the footwork of a boxer. The goon was silent, a missed opportunity. Can you face me like a man? James said like he had a moustache. A man has got to do what a man has got to do. James and the goon started armored boxing. Teeth flew consistently and continuously. James' chiseled face looked better taking a punch, especially in slow-mo we can see. It was an even match. Take this if you're a man, the goon said and charged up his fist with spare power. In his independent game for endurance, James stood still. He could be quite enduring, especially if he consciously turned it on. Sometimes he didn't take or even felt damage that others would. He was indomitable like God Achilles. It looked like a hammer had hit the side of his head and he made quite a face. Take this if you're a man, James said, foot forward, and he thought as himself punching through him. The goon looked shocked, in pain, and then slapped him with his enormous hand like a bear. In many ways it was like a punch. James slapped back, unknown even harder, unyielding 100%. Eventually the goon got bored of slapping and started fighting with his fists again. Low on stimulants yet unable to find it. "You're weak as my baby aunt," he said. "When people are this strong, a boxing match is decided quickly. Boxers get much stronger faster than resilient, etc. It's about dodging." Both dodged deep with footwork. The goon was a fast mass. Sparks flew across James' field of view as he got stunned and oblivious of danger. When he came to his senses and noticed he was getting to his limits too. Opportunities for combos arose and the goon was eventually just protecting himself with his long arms. He had to punch a few times in the area to get his most powerful hits in. "Omiwa, Mu Shindiru, you're already dead," James said, and with the power of a charged fist and steroids he punched his face merrily in. The goon just grinned and looked invincible, face caved in. He stood still through. James got a bit nervous and started to do a kind of automatic doubting. The doubting led to another supreme punch. This one might have been more excellent than the first one. The goon quickly fell over like a plank, knocked unconscious. That was his limit. Getting patched up with some other gladiators, he quickly felt like dueling again, but he knew better. It was him and the penultimate victor now. If he beat him, he won. How big will this guy get? Instead, in front of him stood a meek but perfectly and sleek, expensively plated knight with an oversized gleaming tower shield. He must be the most formidable knight, but in his left hand was a tiny golden dagger. His visor was a long-slit two-piece helm and his shoulders narrowly built. He was covered perfectly. Banner's non-protecting blue was hanging and decorating. The first thing he did was drop his shield and run away comically at the size of his opponent. He had the speed of a dozen hamsters, kind of speeding up automatically when in danger. James felt like competing with speed too. Fine, he wasn't as confident here, technically, but he was also not as fast. This man was agile, jumping over the weapons James threw at him over the arena. James picked up weapons and weapons, leftover and from dead yet determined hands. James took off his breastplate, Kiteshield, and started running after him with his glaive gauntlet like an assassin. Eventually James turned out to be faster with Olympic steps, but could not deal with the quick turning instead. He was like an antelope. Weighing into the corners was not enough. The crowd started booing and the announcer announced, "Remember, you have to fight Porpoise, a French name." "Right," a shrill meek voice said. "Don't give me any permanent damage, big man," said Porpoise. "Why are you scared like a rain cloud?" "It all started when I was a boy. Never mind, don't hurt me. I regret this, I think thus." James started poking and slicing with his polearm, but Porpoise kept up. He started thrusting his polearm so fast that the reader missed the movement while reading. James felt brilliant, but no matter how fast he was, Porpoise could match it like a mirror. It was different for him, like a reflex. Are you still interested to know? It started when, anyway, he was completely in his negative world and past. "I don't know, maybe laddie, over a drink." James got friendly competitively with the men who were about to die. He took a break and rested his hands on his pommel, strategizing. He started feinting and double feinting and then went for an overhead, the weakness of shields, asides from maybe curved blades. But Porpoise spinned his heavy shield upwards and deflected it easily, dodged his next kick and even ducked a stab too powerful. Surprisingly, Porpoise went for an average attack, and then some blind swinging, put his weight against him, entangling their legs too. James got unbalanced from the judo. After the second time, he got entangled dangerously but stopped Porpoise's dagger by clutching his forearm. "You can't beat me. I have the ultimate defense," Porpoise said with the confidence only someone weak and cowardly can, maybe eventually. "I'll put you in the femur breaker, have a chicken leg and spit out the bone." "What is savage?" "No, you won't. I think I know people like you. At least I have complicated problems." James thought about his gun and the value of his limited resource versus the unexpected. Instead he merged a bit of his Kiteshield and polearm into a larger hammer. "Hammer time," James said onto the knight. Horrible sounds. James hammered like his shield was inches away from breaking, and his opponent could not last. It would have been impossible. James put on an abnormal display of power and ferocity like an Olympic athlete found on a farm. The crowd was shocked and gasped as the end was closing in, they thought, but his giant shield held stalwart, indomitable. James was starting to feel and emanate like 1,000 samurai. Eventually this speed and frequency was just right, swinging faster and harder. "I can cut through steel," he said, merged with his weapon and spirit. "This isn't steel," Porpoise said triumphantly. James two-handedly walked towards Porpoise with his Nodachi, his demon aura, the killing machine starting protruding, elongating his sword and body with red-black lightning. Ultimately James cut through his shield in one blow, weapon and the front of his cuirass. Most of the helm hit the ground in defeat with that Porpoise sliced and down. James was ready to execute like the gods had commanded it. "Please don't hurt me. Please, I hate pain," Porpoise said sheepishly. James emphasized with Porpoise the tortoise and knocked him unconscious with the flat of his blade. A dong was heard, followed by the announcer, "We have a winner." Flesh may scold and break my bones, but running away while fighting is never gonna work, James said unto unconscious Porpoise like a grave. My, what an exotic warrior, the announcer came down from the casting booth. Where do you hail from, may I ask? It's not that far away, really. Very well, all things are relative. What will you do with the Duke's money? Throw it on the Duke's sister. James went into confident, insane, hyperbolic, versed in winning. Maybe we can find you a relative, or maybe you want to ask the Duke himself. He said seriously. Sorry, I meant with the most respect and dignity, you have no idea. It was as true as anything else he had ever said. James saw Porpoise latch onto consciousness like a drunk on the way out. What shall be our next plane, Arnaud said.
And now, a lot later.
What shall be our next plane, Arnaud said. Let's go to the Coffee Bean Caribbean Islands. I say let's align with the French. Legendary ENTJ pirate Napoleon Rebluchon, not Bonaparte, was about productivity, and productivity, a leader with a powerful arsenal of friends. He made friends with thinkers, but he was about group strategic productivity, then business. He was a thinker businessman in this world, climbing ladders of capitalism that was like a quest of honor. This is not near the 1700s, but they have the newly discovered 1000s Chinese black powder for weapons. A remarkable aromatic burned Neapolitan, he had made coffee in the plain Caribbean Coffee Bean Islands. It was as pungent as perfume, but didn't taste like perfume. It fell short with milk through, and the old ladies around the islands drank coffee quick. It traded competitively around the islands, but people like Count Viscount the Cunt were ready to invade his plantations. Stormy, he had been stopped at the docks and 6 ships were broadsiding. In the dark bottom storage, Napoleon found Viscount carrying off his produce. En garde. Stop in the name of Caribbean Island Coffee. I got your product figured out. You wouldn't destroy my produce, if you could never have it. Viscount's huge ponytail like captain's hat looked aristocratic. He was the best dressed on the battlefield for sure. And incredibly flamboyant. No, I wouldn't. He raised his white gloves and 2 luxurious rapier. They fought with rapier cutlass, a new argument. Viscount stabbed for his heart greedily twice, but was superiorly deflected. Viscount was fast and maybe weak. He would figure out that soon every thrust was piercingly deflected. Napoleon made a 6 slash on his chest, sacre blue candle, and Viscount disarmed through the pain, defeated. An irrefutable piercing point. Upon the decks, pirates fought without much clothes and armor, winning a battle that could determine the next. Viscount has been taken. Yield unto us. Comically, a lot of pirates tried to calm each other into stopping fighting. It's over. Stop fighting. Viscount has been taken. Napoleon shot Count through a cannon straight up. He looked like a smoked chicken leg and in pain. A golden fleeced, disproportionately large feet and legs bunny came to Napoleon's side. You can have the new vineyard and fort. I buy my release. Smoky blacked hair ruined Count Seth. Find your captain. In a culver, and Viscount was fired 30 meters into the sea, and his crew ran like theatre pals eager. The Coffee Bean Islands were like a huge island territory, except for the northwest and a huge hole of water in the middle plus 3 islands. There were 7 territories, 8 colonies, and 9 pirate factions fighting. Elves, France, England, Dwarf, Italy, Spain, China, with the 8th colony being barbarian and 9th pirate faction, the penniless corsairs. You were not allowed to eat the cows, sheep and goats here, because they produced the cheese. The wine was warm, fruity and a bit like juice, and was a place of nutty, chocolatey, creamy and bitter coffee. The sport was a deconstructed version of baseball that usually ended up with everyone drinking wine then fighting each other. Because of the wine culture, drinking lower % wine was okay, and for teenagers it was served in school, maximum 2 cups. Turns out alcohol makes you forget what you learn, oh well. Just like in France. Smoking Wisdom Stem, Clarity Leaf, Blackguard's Bountiful Retort and Cuban cigars was also legal at 14. A land a delicacy for some, a land of making money for those with taste buds. Piracy was common as Saturdays or maybe Mondays. Everyone had practiced fencing, cannoneering or hired muscle. Anti-piracy politicians were not ambitious and usually took cigars from the side. They drank wine in the arguing lower rooms and smoked the cigars between savory lies. The pirates lathed treasure and glided free. They found hoards of treasure and gold to spend in French ports, then competitively fought gang to gang, making territory. The 9 seas were unexplored. The free pirate ports were small countries, luxurious, headed by pirate captains in shipwrecks. One devious plot was paying pirate ports to raid, let's say, Port Salut of its defenses, then you siege in and claim the port yourself. You could pay indigenous people to attack in canoes too. They were known for being mercenaries, but no one said anything straight or promised. You had to read the room, thick like honey. We see our hero James, after getting here, finding himself in a fine-ass establishment, small dancing room in the Royal Port Salut Ball. The small orchestra was going crazy on classical music, speed and intensity technical to metal. James was dancing like a god, tearing it up with his extreme sports wheelchair he did one-wheel wheelies and breakdances with. Our boy could spin on his head, arms out, wheelchair balancing skewed on uneven legs.
No, he's not handicapped.
In the end, the posh contestants applauded each other and the boy...
He has like extreme wheelchair sports.
In the end, the posh contestants applauded each other and the boy James grabbed the port's governor's daughter, huge bosom and slender waist, let her see the room upside down from his grip, then he kissed her passionately. These daughters could be...
You know, the governor is like 50 and the daughter's 30. It's just like...
These daughters could be beautiful like this, with hair up in knots, ginger, blonde and auburn.
It wasn't obvious.
Thus he exited on his insane magical, black power engine wheelchair, steering with XXL arms and bloody veins popping. His arms looked like he raced wheelchairs. He asked the daughter shorter, humble, linear and contrite. She liked being taller for now, but could have enjoyed it more. Would you like to sit in my wheelchair? Dwarven technology this is. She sat like a rescued dame. They blazed off in the luxurious governing halls with pitiful pastel coloring, James flying up the walls and looping the ceiling, avoiding people in the way. This was a common tradition. You might have won my heart over dancing again, James, but have a look at these fine gifts. 3 rapiers, stabbing weapons, with luxurious artsy guards. I don't have a rapier, fine amethyst. You bought me an amethyst. Quite. James procured a ruby from his pocket with at least shades of pink. Join me, fair lady, for a wheelchair race, fishing of exotic laziness and rum drinking on a sunny beach. Like sinners are we, in lieu of toiling work and beautiful places forbidden. I love this amethyst. Yes, sure, I'll go. It's with your Cuban friend. Her eyes love treasure as these ideas. Enter Cuban fishing hut and beach aft vineyard. You know this, James, the adventurer and collector of keys now, said Napoleon. Quite a charming rogue, said daughter Vice, daughter of all actors, the governor. I like it when he tries to be posh and luxurious. He has a lot of money, people say. He's an adventurer, successful one. Rev up, gentlemen. James and Olivia with one wheelchair each revved and revved. Eventually fire was starting to break at the bottom wheels. And they are off, like greased lightning. James had such a lightning start, but somehow, Olivia is keeping up with him. He's gaining in insanely muscular strides. James tried and tried, but eventually Olivia rounded him. Finish around the beach. Well, Mr. Olivia was as muscular as steroids themselves, arms like a caricature. Intelligently, Napoleon didn't mind saying, so we are 3 thinkers here, everyone exceptional. I think together we'll be a proud coffee gourmand office. Whatever, homeboy, said James. So you don't mind working for me, French and coffee business, you will be my muscle, fixer and mixer. Olivia spends all his free time mixturing with chemistry. Olivia didn't hear this like he was deaf. Teach me the ways to make coffee, my mind has never been larger. So how much free coffee is in the deal? Honestly, I drink about 4 to 10 cups a day, he said friendly and confidently. The cheapest stuff, Sunshine Raisin Meadows, you can have as much as you like. The Aroma coffee, maybe not. Can I try your best coffee? Aroma 1 and 2, no milk.
I have to go to the bathroom now. It's not. It's a little.
Aroma 1 and 2, no milk. I get it, milk ruins the antioxidants we figured in the future. He's kidding, right? No, we had a longevity thing, country by country already in our habits. No one would say no to drinking more coffee to get less cancer and heart disease, not British people. Oh yeah, black tea works too, almost as good as green, don't bind the antioxidants to the milk protein. Do you think you can sell, live longer, drink luxurious coffee? James. Not bad, James. Well, I'm trying to make our customers drink it black anyway. Be honest, right, drink it black, also associated with living years longer. Years, just what I not know from your years. More like 1 to 2 years, it's beans, the power of beans, you see these oak arms. James slapped his biceps, this is mostly made of beans, you know, chickpeas, lentils, vegan stuff. Your vegan bodybuilding diet is so fucking funny, said Olivia, then he started on a gentle repeated laugh, maybe like a grandpa. Napoleon didn't lift heavy weight, but he could fence instead. Enter coffee and coffee chocolate. This is Aroma 2, we haven't named it yet. James, Olivia smelled and sipped. 5-second silence. Jesus Christ, that might be one of the best things I have ever drunk. So much aroma, so much flavor. The chocolate flavor comes for about a second and it's like something chocolate related I never tried. Olivia enjoyed it in silence and he wiggled it like tea. I'm used to this flavor now, Napoleon, Olivia said. Well, it is a bean, James. It's 30% Blue Mountain, the best and most expensive bean in the world, followed by chocolate Black Mountain, something that grows here like a gold mine. Power of beans. Power of beans, Napoleon went for a hillbilly impression. The chocolate they sold with the coffee was like melted chocolate rich for seconds and then nothing. This is our main seller, even if it's expensive, Aroma Napoleon. Yeah, this is supposed to be had black, said James. This makes me feel acute and smarter, said Olivia, impossibly deep and impressionable. So it changes flavor what 4 to 5 times, I barely have patience for this. I sense dark and bitter transformations. I guess it could have even more expensive and luxurious punch. More of the same, also very aromatic 10 out of 10 coffee, the other was 9. Yeah, I guess it has distinct transformations, said Olivia. He was pleased and pleasant. I am a bit stuck on how to change my product, unless we're talking about this smoky bourbon coffee. Change the beans, said James, out of 10 changes 1 will be good. To be honest, I'm not a very typical worker, I'm an abstract, improvising idea working worker. I would work the best in science, or constantly improving something like a rocket to space. Anything with moving arms can do this job, said Napoleon. Interesting opinion. I know a poison that would improve the flavor, Olivia said, detached and insane. Can you make it non-poisonous, Napoleon? No, the flavor is the poison. Okay, first we take a vacation, am I right? I have French rum, it's fudgy, but you get tired kind of quick. Napoleon. I heard vampires like drinking your blood if there's rum, Olivia. That's so random, Napoleon. With a linear brain, Olivia was insulted by this. He was however more concerned with laying on the beach and drinking rum. Onto a beach, next to the hut they tasted coffee. James shared the sunglasses he had made out of onyx and told them how to do Sudoku, 3 pretty difficult pieces he had made, he thought. They drank coffee and rum and spoke leisurely. Napoleon in many ways didn't seem relaxed, but in his mind he was focused. He did on performance constantly, speech, sell and unite. And now he did almost subconsciously. Vice laid on top on James, feeling rich, fascinated and affectionate. She was a fan of James. Are you trying to get me drunk? I have never tried to get someone drunk, I think. Maybe who I'm trying to get drunk is myself. Then came the rabbits, Spartacus and the golden Napoleon pelt. The rabbits quickly realized they were rabbits and flopped on the beach, all exteriors out, as they do when feeling safe and happy. Spartacus had hints of jealousy of the golden fleece. The golden rabbit is an Angora, they don't mind being cut. Do you think the rabbit wants some coffee? James presented a mug. The rabbit slurped and thought it was interesting, looked at Olivia, then went back for more. The rabbit is going back for more, that's good coffee in it, said James. I learned this fluffy and conditioning hairspell, that's why I have such perfect hair, said Vice looking like a croquembouche. Well kept up like that it looks almost like a perfect wig. With pink bubbles and cream soon the rabbits were enjoying the wash. Floof, the royal pelt looked royal as Spartacus had prize-winning hair. The rabbit felt like zooming and included the other rabbit. Come here rabbit, said James to the golden fairly large 1 by 1 by 0.5 meter rabbit. I am also knowledgeable in geography, biology and politics. Vice. I am one of the geniuses of modern London. Governor just wants to wed me off, but I think we're powerful enough, more like a regular wedding. One of the secrets and weapons of hell was the living seed crystal, with time turned into a treant. Ancient treant Alucard, while still thicket, was a treant. He could make growth change season and wither in seconds, and you had to be clear. Alucard could be literal or philosophical and was about beautiful action, not words. Humanoid tree form, faceless chiseled face, he grew a red beard in the summer that turned deep blue with impatience in autumn, with dryads renting room. What do they pay with? Different acorns. I like planting trees, I have the patience to watch them grow. It was insane Alucard could turn into a 50 by 50 meter wooden estate in 30 seconds. I will not lit a fire. You can lit my leftovers leaves related to summer, on fire. A 70 times 30 meter ship as well with rosy flowers and huge thorns where need be. Exceptionally tanky over-offensive Alucard would outlive anyone 2,000 years, and was resistant against everything even fire. This is not a $2 matchbox, although the feeling he personally disliked on fire like being wet. He was intelligent but more mystical and wise, concerned with balance of species to nature, fit well with James. You are leaking. It's supposed to be like that echoed his deep, more like hard-to-speak voice. A hint of humor was noticed afterwards. Folk that would usually like visiting Alucard were sprites, lightly dressed deep blue and light green spirits related and allied to elves. Dryads, again, and druids. Alucard, a squirrel told me it is always safe gathering nuts for winter. It is one with the system you know. He had spots on him for rosebushes and blueberries always, makes me smell nice as well. I make antioxidants against the sun and enzymes against bacteria, you humans eat this to be the healthiest. I wouldn't eat you. A ship Zarazetanut came around the rocks firing. Everyone seemed to have a wooden leg, maybe because the captain did. They won't like this molten giant bombard, they said, but as they fired Alucard morphed into a treant form. He launched, his strong arms broke the wood around their mast savagely, tilting it into the sea. A pirate twacked a rum bottle and lit it intelligently on fire on his back. Alucard was deeply startled and pushed his right oak arm into his stomach, then expanded until he was a human mace. The human mace exploded into a cutlass person and the blood extinguished the fire. They put a giant bombard against Alucard again, but James thought with arrogant fire magic to make it explode inside the barrel. James was cornering Captain Double Legs. He was a fat pirate with excellent defense and black braided beard. He had one wooden leg. Captain Double Legs. James and Double Legs aimed and fired a black powder pistol at the same time. Double Legs had a stronger, skillfully double more red, and his piercing thrusts would have gone through someone else's. James bellowed had ORSOF that knocked him back and flipped him about and cut through his armor and pants in a 12-cut strike. He raised his cutlass a final time, but James gathered piercing power and rail-gunned it. All right, we surrender. They were Italians. Follow me to the cabin.
This is kind of One-Piece joke, right? Oh, his name is Captain Double Legs. Everyone has a wooden leg, but does he have two wooden legs now?
Follow me to the cabin. A gold overflowing, well-in-just coin, rum and Italian whiskey. Walcher cabin. I see you have loot here from the French, should have banked. Spare us half the rum and whiskey and we'll give you the location of the treasured dead ivory. It's around here somewhere. We shall take the French cheese and coffee, said Napoleon Rebloshin. Smells like mimolette. Yeah, it does, said James. This is stupid. How do I steal against people now? Italian accent, asterisk, I have got to make a living. Yeah, you can forget stealing from the French now, said James, inspecting a wineglass robust. With the strongest muscle, I've beaten several dragons and raided Dragon's Nest. Dragon's Nest. The Italians in the room danced superstitiously in circles and spit 3 times. There was spit everywhere. We need diplomacy between Italia-France now or invasion, proclaimed Double Legs. The islands were busy making the best coffee. some with the same price of produce, which is just capitalistic insanity, unless people weren't willing to pay. They had scientists and caffeine addicts analyze the perfect coffee. A broad area for research was crossbreeding beans, which James would now uptake. Cross beans, why not just mix them straight in the coffee, James said. Another insight was any coffee tastes twice as good if you have drunk for 3 to 4 days, you're addicted. The flavor becomes exalting and golden. Let's breed some new flavors with genetics. Cheap and flavored filters he came up with, flavored coffee-like with aromas he remembered from the future. He thought of inventing a coffee that tasted like a dessert, just the right coffee flavor, and you added sugar and cream. Now what would that be? Something already rich and fat, James decided. James introduced Napoleon to iced coffee or coffee with sugars or sweetness. He promised his people were completely addicted by this. Cold coffee is just dessert flavor orientation, Napoleon said. I feel like I'm mixing cake. We don't have to, it can just be bitter and fat flavors. Anyway, caramel can be combined with chocolate and dark coffee. I thought caramel for aristocrat kids. They might be good customers. What about ground salted pretzels? Make any shape you'd like, mate. James went water skating. It was a lot like ice skating, you moved the same over the water with pretty expensive, also magical, dwarven devices. When far enough he could fish crabs and sea urchins. Sea urchins were always so upset when taken away or beaten, so confident in their defense. He met a meter-long anglerfish, red, white and green eyes, so ugly like it had its face punched in. It was cool though and let him pick urchins. James enjoyed the heat, swimming slowly in the crystal clear water, and saw their holy coral reefs, not damaged yet. Later in the day, after Olivia's spicy crab sushi, James went for Pirate Revolver Duels, a gambling western-like game. 2 pirates enter in a downed wooden arena, the one that pulls and shoots his revolver first and hits heart or head wins. The bullets are seafoam rubber. James practiced and practiced, had lightning skills. He usually won because of his cat-like reflexes, but people here at Surly Boots Pharmacy Gambling and Accounting didn't have normal reflexes. He had faced up the quickest draws one after one with 900% interest. It was shorter to aim your pistol to the heart than head, he thought. Despite bullets being rubber, he thought of ideas of different one-shotters, that really one-shot. Rapscallion Tentacle Face fell down in smoke as he clutched his stomach. James, after practicing duels, had gotten his reflexes down to 15 milliseconds. Congratulations, you beat Rapscallion and the house. Take this dwarven Hellclast, face remover. A heavy, long shotgun-looking pirate revolver with expensive wood and half the metal-plated dark blue and some corals was given. Still long reload. No need to fight as this blows off their face, just like on the label. Maybe there comes a second Sea Dog. Fixed shot pattern, well, a rectangle, magical elven crystal blue flu powder with magical battery French Dutch. I'll conserve my energy like the dead on a couch. Drunk on shots, Dutch captain failed to complete his sentence once, then said, down with arrogant French coffee, and shot a pirate pistol under the table. James, in just absolute unit hand, flat-handed deflected the bullet, then aimed the Hellclast, fully reaching his face. KABLAM. The clast made a huge blue explosion and the captain laid face smoking feet up in the bar. Hooray, the bar went in and started drinking again. James took the long orange Spitz drink and went observing the Capybara Island, part hot tub, part overgrowing island next to the bar stools. The capybaras loved the hotness and had oranges on their heads. Both England and Italia both worked on the biggest 5-cannon vertical row ships that would be sure to destroy anything. They toiled intelligently, spending every buck, careering and shipwrighting. Are you sure, Jimmy James lad? Paragalos, the British colony, has never been so illegally tempting, weak and rich. Plunder awaits like a rum bottle floated home. James convinced every honest pirate to attack, putting the Paragalos defense on its heels. They survived most of the pirates and were licking their wounds as French ship of the line, Genevieve, with 48 guns and French flags, turned the corner. They had 2 star shooters as well, black dwarven super heavy bombards. The super bombard cut up the docks and base defense. They had towers with cannons for about a minute. French pirates came charging from the bottom with a cannon rolled. They were well mannered not to hurt too many civilians, used to this game, and went straight for the governmental buildings and governor. A beautiful hourglass brunette, Olivia, governor's daughter, said, bloody pirates, as they approached British high culture. James went, look, there's a governor's daughter, don't shoot. She was pushed into the group, thus into James' arms. I won't be rough, you're safe around my biceps, proclaimed towering James. Pirates might have ripped jewelry off her neck. Help me, less thick accented French guy. I'm a mercenary. This is the most dangerous time to be a government's daughter, even more than choosing the coffee room decor. Out came the main military and treasure guards. They were dressed in red and white British colours, some hard leather, some steel cuirass, some blue and white Scottish. On they fought with bombardment of pistols, cannons rolled forwards and caught people in the stomach. James saw the governor in the background.
Lol.
On they fought with bombardment of pistols, cannons rolled forwards and caught people in the stomach. James saw the governor in the background, fat and in a green silky suit. James used his teleport powers short-ranged and low on stamina, to the surprise of the governor. For the money, James said, and plucked the man under his arm like a lightweight. I'll pay you 1,000 quid if you abduct me somewhere safe. Oh dear, we have not protected any new resource. Can you pay 10 times more, said James, surprisingly negotiable. A side-switching mercenary. Well, I'm not prepared to pay more than 2,000. I'm not worth it. Good to have an honest opinion. James went on to his pirates. I always wanted to have a wig like this, said a thin triangle-jawed pirate, and nicked his hair. Lock him in the captain's room, said the pirate quartermaster and rumkeep. I want to be imprisoned with my father, said the daughter. Seal them in together, and prevent their impending escape. We don't want to lose any leverage, said James, like a real ENTP pirate, like Jack Sparrow, thorough and confusing. The captain of the guard blocked their way into the treasure vault, which was in a white guard tower. He too had a fancy shirt and a white wig with an opulent rapier. I am a master fencer. Thus they fenced as speedily. Thus they fenced as speedily as the eye can see. James was busy with his light weapon, the stabbing rapier, and thought to grab a sword next time and cut through. Silly little thing, better freeze it. Oof. Olivia had sealed the deal by picking up a cannonball and throwing it into the stomach of the captain. James thought there was no sound, but it looked like it had been fired from a cannon. Olivia then picked him up with 2 arms, then slapped him with his 2 others until submission. The circular keep was gilded with treasure, resources that could be turned into coffee and chocolate and cigars, blue Jamaican. I can smoke these if I can have Cuban later, said Olivia. Please, my beloved, I am supposed to protect the governor's daughter. Put him into a cannon, said James with an insane eye. In the Coffee Bean Islands, there were magical man cannons, black dwarven of course, that could shoot someone a quarter across the islands but didn't shoot destructive cannonballs as a resort. The captain got shuffled ass first, only hands and feet sticking out. French people cannot make coffee. And almost instantly he was shot onto Chinese waters. The cannon didn't make much sound, but left blue light powder in the air. Quite a mouth on that one, said Olivia. Yeah, did you hear he was charming the governor daughter, responded James. Then he went to charm the governor's daughter. James didn't sell the place to France, but the Spanish, and when they had settled and they raided everything again, took their treasure vault pretending to be penniless corsairs. Some of the treasure was still being shipped, so they found the treasure line and boarded them, leaving the treasure ships intact, slow but well armed, and sold them, and then finally made it a new French outpost. Joining them on the raids freely was pirate Blackbeard. He looked goatee and goated, young and undamaged. He had hints of greatness, but his deeds were not yet done. He didn't have a black beard through, everyone called him thus, but he had the widest black moustache going to his ears like knives instead, and black stubble. Enemies seemed to fall before him like rag dolls, as he had 1 pistol more and stabbed for them thus. The next day, the governor's daughter seemed to leave him for her main gig. She had been poor to communicate. They were perfect for each other, just like the rich can be slick. Damn it, I need someone whose secrets doesn't hurt me. James practiced his teleporting, but also saved some mana on the bigger jumps with vials. He found Sabrina concerned and fascinated with the post office on Earth.
Big stocky boons.
James practiced his teleporting, but also saved some mana on the... Do you want to join me on Nagas and Coves? I have been waiting for an adventure like this, sure, she smiled. He felt really good overstimulated hugging her, but at least it wasn't nervous perverse like you can get from depression. She was endearing and cute, pink death too as always. She had reshaped her horns. James didn't know you could do that with a popular haircut spell, into 1 decimeter straight, then slightly curved back horns. Cut 8 times slightly like a garlic baguette. Enter French coffee base. Rebluchon said, are you safe with population and animals? I do expect nothing bad from you, James interjected, half confident. If you're a good person, you're always in control. I have to say, James, you procured the hottest from the dating show. Fancy, said Sabrina. Fancy, said James. Wow, this tastes so much better than the burnt Italian stuff in hell. I don't have to force it down. Here's an idea, James said as ENTP, an automatic reheating spell with the coffee. We should sell it as a machine maybe. What about a tasteless reheating cube, said Olivia.
I have another idea. Modern foreign capsule coffee and reheating machines. Always have perfect temperature. I'm so tired of temperature, Ron.
Get on it. I think I will go on a treasure hunt and get rid of the siren in the cove. She's eating our crew and transportation. Yes, she keeps eating the mail runners and lighter ships. If you go on Friday, I will clear it as working hours. They entered a skull 10 by 10 meters cut out in rock over a cove next the Coffee Bean BW Anna Island. Of course, it's an underwater entrance. They emerged slimy against wandering long-armed jellyfish. They walked on meter-long 2 arms and stunned mercilessly with the third. As they came and stunned James, he channeled it with lightning magic, then retorted in a blast that sundered him all, loud like cracking sky. I hear of nasty greater green variants. Sabrina hugged James, attracted by the adventure. You were one big muscly deadly conduit. There was a catacomb of doors, halls and rooms, but plenty of beautiful colors. There were corals on the walls, fishes of all colors of the rainbow. Those are some big sea urchins. They blocked the exit 1 by 1 meter in a room of varying sizes, purple and black they crawled, industrious. I can detonate them, said Sabrina knowledgeable. Drink this overload mana vial. Succubuses are really good at fire magic. Soon every 1 meter sea urchin detonated like a minefield. Don't detonate my nuts. In the next room were giant clams. Based on your strength you could get the treasure. Watch this. With monstrous strength James opened one just with his arms, shaky arms. They're sapphire and emerald in small rectangles. The next 2 rooms were desolate and empty, then another one with a 10-meter clam. This one wouldn't budge like a goat. I can't get it open. That's one hell of a pinch. James charged blood magic for 30 seconds then. Bubonic beast pet overgrown. He wrenched open the clam 1/2 meter. It sounded like wrought steel. Do you want to get in there? That pearl is opulent. Succubus suction. The 1/2 meter pearl was sucked. In an even longer corridor they met thick fishmen with circular saw hands and anglerfish heads. You will fall before the siren. These treasures are to lust you before our den. Don't fight me. I am the supreme slayer Aragog. We trust in your build. You must be enhanced. Normal humans don't go above that muscle level. One of them had balls that seemed to breathe like gills hanging on his face cheeks. Where is the siren anyway? Keep going east. They gave it away with his casualness. A few rooms later, after blubber jellyfish and poisonous shelled snails, they met 2 fishmen carrying a treasure chest heavy. We promise we didn't kill any men. Wonder if they did, thought Sabrina as she lit everything on fire. They smoldered and engulfed in flame. Great, put the chest in my magically confined bag. I can feel something now through. They carried from the west. Enter Siren's room. They came upon a huge beautiful crusty ship in a 150 by 150 meter room. It seemed sunkern and fit 5 times as many animals, including barnacles. The 15 by 25 by 100 meter ship was gargantuan. I welcome you to Moby Dick. Your treasure will gleam as will your intestines. A 4-meter maiden, an attractive pale mermaid-looking siren, looked upon them with a trident. She had a light starfish haircut and large nude breasts. I blocked any attempts for her to get into your mind. I think I'm gonna study magic of the mind, James said conversationally. I am your reckoning siren. Your stealing and rupture have attracted me. She blew in her conch, but James' mind was barely addled. Bigger fish frontline clothesline. James thacked the siren in the neck and she hit the ship. She hit James fist for fist with her left hand, trying to win with her trident. She was strong. She deflected flame wave with her spinning trident from Sabrina, which made James charge fire magic. He charged in light and his surroundings until they scented in him jumping. Scientific method C4. James blasted like star. ARGH. The siren let out a beautiful scream and covered her face. Seared, she flooded the room with water with her trident. What was she going to do now? Like a shark she turbo-jetted, trying to cut them trident first. It turned hard to see. Darn, she got to Sabrina. James generated superplasma glue on lightning. It was quite difficult, but soon caught the siren gasping for air in pain. The lightning lit the surrounding water on fire the entire way. It melted the siren like chocolate butter in 5 seconds. Turns out the spell waned. The siren was an old hag with a double chin. The room flushed the water out like a toilet. James had a tendency to be depressed through.
Depression time, depression shot, inspired by real depression.
James had a tendency to be depressed through, or stay just above depressed. It had been shocking, like the finest, most profound art in the world, the first time, as much feeling as one can take with old forgotten promises now spiritual. The past has caught put dire to James McIvory. Just leave me be, I'll wait things out. Bit strange maybe how some confidences stick, but to find unyielding confidence, coming to insight in depression is a good idea. Depression haunts intelligent people, a tendency to blame yourself, extra weight, bit senseless guiltiness. The past had haunted him until this. He needed to have it good before it could surface. What he had was not real stability. Like brain damage through a shot through the head, James cared not but indulge in entertainment and food. It was too hard to take care of yourself. The weight was oppressive. Who cared about anything he had to do? Being treated so substandardly in his life, he now had to slowly figure out if he was good enough. I'm going to live for the last fun he'll ever have. I'll keep up the work for other people. Napoleon. He didn't feel much right now, to be honest. He had anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. Some were fleeting. You chase it but don't get it. He felt something from eating and engaging in games, so that's what he did. Exploring like an art connoisseur, sometimes addicted to wrong timings, but he had to keep going. The feeling spelled separation anxiety even before someone left, but it was only about so few people. James realized it must be some past trauma before he could remember. The alcohol tasted so good it brought him to tears, like life was no more, the Loire and the fiery Alsace. Keep going, another drink. The time was thus. Now he felt what he always missed. Maybe others could reason his behavior made a lot of sense. It was excellent wine. Card games meant a lot. They could satisfy him sometimes. Sometimes everything was just a mess inside, like someone who needed help. He questioned if he was fake. Maybe faking 5% doesn't even matter. It's just a conscious function leading somewhere honest anyway 50% of the time. Was he good enough? Was he a drag that just needed to be executed? Yes, I think I am good enough to exist, to live, and he would not question it again. Was he a man or mouse? These questions are old and for an insecure teenager surfacing again because of the burning of finite candles. Once he had less of everything he had followed his good sides bravely. Was he confident a man, compared to the realest men? Surely. A person should know himself so well he needs no consciousness to shake anything off. So easy to build a confidence and stability in the waves of random events that may come. You just need encouragement and not every group animal to be dismissive. Would people not accept a nerdy thinker, who Would people not accept a nerdy thinker? Who was it who didn't? He shouldn't have asked. I understand it's feelers in their own insecurities who dismiss nerdy thinkers. Deep inside himself he had always found a shelter early, like a cocoon of youth, a safe place ultimately untouchable because they weren't spiritually as far deep. Even depressed his first time, he had an iron confidence in himself to be able to accomplish all his Iron Man goals, unextinguishable. What mortal could ever break this force? It was a dance of egoism in materialistic nothing and performance of hubris that got him depressed again. It's 5 times more clear the week before he got it. A dangerous game he played now. He could lose every card in his hand. But he had always been calm in these serious situations. He had also turned melancholic until every movement and thought was pierced by black retarding ice.
He's not retarded though.
He had also turned melancholic until every movement and thought was pierced by black retarding ice. Something that would be resistant to treatment. He. Better not stay too long in this hopeless stability, for the spirits will gut you until you are left with nothing. You get one day in the sun. Antidepressants, he remembered, aren't strong enough on their own. You need to do multiple things like run consistently, add antidepressing coconut water, magnesium, eat healthy, other exercises. Or good enough things would happen that lifted him out. If only that could happen. He didn't completely get out of his first depression in 5 years when he was 15 to 20. How unproductive he was. How stupid, because brilliance flows on positive emotions and confidence. And depression could come back in the future as long as he wanted to be accomplished in the hardest way for him, a perfect citizen in a perfect critique. You have to settle for what you can do, even if the worst. To exist in how you thought you had to be versus even a long allowance of who you actually are. Depression is being unable to play a role other people want. You can see this crux as people try for more and more change than they're able. There was a finite feeling, he didn't care, the pain would stop, the aggravation of life, it would all end, death greets you warm for your hardship. His family in the future wouldn't know, they probably thought he would pop up any day and be sarcastic. Maybe he should think of how first, he needed to search for aliens. He had gained 50 kilograms of fat to his bulky body, oh dear. How does that even happen? One day at a time. You can have the most infinite will-controlled eating. He ate to live, he really did, but the interesting thing that was he was a gourmand, he picked meal and meal, drink and savored the taste, to him it was the food of the gods for real and forgotten. Chasing the sacred and unhealthy wrong choice bready cheesy flavors of a lasagna or a little bit spicy too, sugar and cream, wine and draft. He wanted gumbo and red wine potato beurre bourguignon, goulash soup and meaty broth. Comically his mind held on to the taste of goulash soup like the most sensible idea. He craved sushi and ordered every item on Indian menus, and many at a time. He got other people with him to eat the menus and these eating challenges. Muscle balloons and fat blobs. He wasn't too mean, spiteful and unpleasant, unless forcing on bigger things or politics. This time didn't shove away friends for odd interests or reject women for degeneracy, despite the world shunning him one intolerant shoulder at a time. When it was really awful he couldn't shake the fact he was agreeable just like them. He was just a nerd, a thinker. There'd be hamburgers expensive and elevated, Italian pasta dishes not focused on protein. Mashed potatoes like Golden Lakes, baguette with butter and expensive hard cheeses. First he didn't notice he was getting bigger, it was just angels, a trick of the light, something that didn't count. Unwrapping a cookie, goddammit, it's just a cookie, doesn't count towards my calorie diet. Quote, bodybuilder Rich Piana, sitting hurt his back and walking wasn't just walking, he had been skinny or buff his entire life. Oh no, I turned fat in it. But he was so muscular that he looked very similar, it was just the stomach, a real 16-month beer-pregnant gut. Thanes looked like this, and some orcs. He noticed he was slower and it was harder to dodge, but he was stronger, mass moves mass, he was like a ferocious giant slamming down ungodly power. He picked up his old exercising and it was still doable, just like you can get used to carrying a heavy backpack, some 1 repetitions records were recorded. Top 1% genetics makes for an interesting period being fat. The biggest part of being fat is the extroverted acting, the opinions of others and sight. It was a test, now he had to prove himself to others all the time. He was no longer just fine the way he was and he had to tank the most elaborate speaking of peers, or entitled arseholery. Feelings of being okay met by piercing egoist elitism, in the vanity wavelength. It's great talking to other fat people, it's like a secret society, everything is with less presumption. And if you were wondering how dating is going to go now, there's your answer, other fat people. A little bit his body seemed to allow for more thought, but especially feelings, and patience with the feelings of others. His voice was stronger and different, he had genius spare energy now because he was so high energy before. Some ideas clicked genius as he said them, but he didn't always figure out why. James had explored exercising while being fat, like a sumo wrestler. He still went for long runs, arms were no problem gimming while he sat down, he was strong now for the first time to contest even Olivia, which was a source of great pride actually, for Olivia. He had worked hard on his speed technique now and could almost phase out of reality and sight from others, although it felt like he was carrying something unstable. He tried running a marathon again, and he could do it. It was intensity training this time, only the last hour was tough. He loved food, and he had an appetite that was 200% of his size. What he was to do in the future now was to choose the time to do it sparingly. Is being fat okay? That's a good question for a time like depression. Do you tolerate fat? He had always enjoyed talking to thick, girthy people and now maybe he would be rewarded for his tolerance. He had indeed never moralized fat in a spiteful way being a gym bro. Just encouraging, it's just mass. James thought it was as a measurement of size or shape, philosophically very fine, but it had objectively some points minus for health that could not be argued away. Something he would consider for himself down. Can't shake the cholesterol problems, blood sugar and blood pressure unless vegan. Getting fat after 40 is so bad against the most common 15 killers that doctors think it's one of the worst things you can do, you live 8 years less on average. Last he noticed gaining 50 kilograms of fat mostly had changed his voice, more assertive and convincing, grand and glorious he sounded egregious and could push his voice deep and operatic. That must be what those opera singers were looking for. Disaster, New Paris colony is being prosecuted by Abraham the Testicle Torsion Wizard. He is here to settle the times. Deep blue and white magical ship echoed with fire and thunder and they drew close. They had a ship of the line with 48 guns and 2 Ottoman bombards, lightning cracked the sky, this was no half-hearted invasion. They drew near with their own ships but Abraham sealed their cannons with blue sticky fudge like magic. I can shoot cannonballs through my ass, best in my class, said Yensid quietly but confidently. They loaded up Yensid from behind. He bent over and started shooting cannonballs like railguns. They crushed the enemy ship and would be good enough in the bombardment of the broadsides. Teleport me over. James was feeling pissed. Napoleon teleported a group over before they could broadside. James was taking out the unfairness of life by taking his enemy Spanish out. Poor souls. As long as he felt spite, James reached new records of violence. He fought excellently but emotional. Inspired by the barbarians, he did a boxing whirlwind. Anyone who got hit flew off the ship. Abraham will show you where your new testicles are located.
Testicles?
Abraham will show you where your new testicles are located. Look at this testicle torsion amateur. I will show you how to outclass thus, Yensid said quietly to James. Testicle torsion, Abraham cast upon Yensid. Mackensize butthole removal, Yensid said echoing. The torsion stopped through its counter. No, not my butt. I can't feel a thing. Please, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to turn into a balloon while eating tacos. I cast, no beard, and inoperable brain tumor. Oh God, no, stop, please. He's begging me to stop, said Yensid like a superhero. Sabrina addled his mind, weakening him for a combo. Wildfire stylos impact. James did a super boxer uppercut of fire magic. You could hear him getting hit by a punch, but then he was instantly gone, flying 200 meters per second. Who knows where or when he would land. Up to the Caribbean, maybe. Now it was up to beat the crew. James took a breath as he dived through the floor, beating up every cannoneer. Sabrina was playing with fire, fighting many expert pirates. She exerted expanding inferno waves, summoned fire hydras, and critically headshot with fireballs. Pirates that tried to resist magic, she ran away to another deck, leaving inferno trails in her wake. One pirate was a half-mage, but she got into his mind and completely blacked him out. Yensid teleported to the bottom deck. Help us, we're Chinese prisoners by the unholy torsion wizard. We will pay you, let us out, a desperate voice said behind bars. Behind Yensid, a cutlass pirate swung a ball and chain. Yensid jumped and flatulence manifest in his face, freezing him through freezing his brain, then with a practiced swift karate kick, kicked his head off. A half-breed werewolf mage was indeed part of the tough crew, and he exited the treasure vault. Yensid met Icebeam on Firewave. They spewed and fought. The beam was going back and forth. Inspired by James' arm wrestling, Yensid put balls and larger balls into his Icebeam, overwhelming the Weramage and freezing his arms. Concentrated blizzard. Yensid made a 1x1 meter cube frozen as the ice comet dwarf star, and the mage fell over as an ice cube with legs. Help UUUUSSSSSS. Don't worry, no physical lock is safe from Yensid. Yensid put his buttocks on the prison door with the pressure, opened it like a cork. Somehow it made a cork sound. They inspected the treasure vault. There was a desk for the captain maybe, but there were piles of gold, candles and gold cups to the roof. It looked like the most secret expensive room in the Western Sea. Who are you? Said James to the Asians. Have you never seen a prisoner? Shoot them across the Coffee Bean Island. Indeed, they would be shot into Chinese waters. Who knew if it would be helpful? I'm going to clear my head with some traveling, I think, said Yensid. I can take this attack to New Paris headquarters. He put on his magical swim feet that made him stand on water. Then he crouched 90 degrees and farted like a motorboat, skimming a rainbow fish across the sea. All these treasure maps keep pointing to Henry Black's treasure, said Olivia. That's not the problem, said Napoleon. We don't know how to get to it. After 3 seconds, James said, Gentlemen, I think I got it. James brought him to a table with spilled coffee and procured his invention map. It's in hell. Hell goes deeper, or maybe northeast. It's where thousands of pounds of pressure can be felt. You can move, and it's through the nastiest seaweed hedge maze. It's underwater at 20,000 meters. You can move at the bottom provided you can breathe. Here I have the blueprint of a bathysphere. You know, just a metal ball going deeper, resistant to pressure if anything. First, the water is a sea of fire. No one has suspected it. I bribed someone the information, the power of delicacy nougat. Whatever, said Arnaud. Napoleon, have you ever visited hell? Gather on to hell. Enter Sabrina, Napoleon, James. Ouroboros was surprised they wanted to enter again, and the elevator was refitted to go deeper. The hell meshes felt different as they passed again until the sea fire beaches where male succubus stood astute. If I tell you literally anything, you will think the treasure is here, said male succubus, and I won't. If you won't tell you details, it's here for sure. How thick is the sea of fire? 12 meters. They jumped into the new bathysphere, closed the door, and it easily handled falling down fiery meters. Fall they did, sinking quickly, but they had not the fitting patience. We're sinking too slow, said Sabrina. This is but magnified osmium dropping weight, it's as fast as it gets. How long are we gonna sit here, said Napoleon, unfittingly worried. Let's build on our relationships. I do sit with a very cute adventurer, Sabrina said perfectly. Do you think I'm too thick now? This is funny as fuck. I watched you eat that lasagna, I thought it would just go away. You can still see the veins on my arms. James had a lot of spot, arms, fat reduction because of his training. Sabrina hugged his arm, it was as big as her torso. I really fancy someone of similar mind, I think it's really sexy too. Sapiosexuality, said Sabrina. In a puff she had been dressed in a black suit, secretary glasses and tie, in their minds anyway. I hope I'm smart enough for you. Although you don't feel much stupider than me, men are stupid too, don't forget. I would guess you having 135 to 150 IQ. I know how men think, it's like I'm a mind reader. And like a fellow Brit once said, I'm in love with the shape of you. They started making out and biting lips. Napoleon started to be very interested in this succubus species. I think it's remarkable how well the 100th woman can fit every lonely man, said James. There are all these people who fit so well together, they find each other in a city's width. There must be dreaminess in the hundreds. Well statistically thought, said Napoleon surprisingly close to a Brit. Eventually, exit of baby space with a thud. Spells will carry us the rest of the way, cave breath of the ugliest flounder. It must be under that pillar of stone there is an entrance like a mouth. I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be rich. Napoleon did some heavy breathing and snorting. They say it's the greatest treasure dug in the 9 seas. They entered a hedge maze made of thick algae. The pressure is rising, and it's flowing against us. The party had to walk at the weakest pace, powering through the magic and salty sea. I can barely move, how is it getting worse? They rounded to find an enemy, Bake Kajura, ghost whale of the dead. I can't reach my holster, said Napoleon. The whale was approaching half dead, their fate was met. Tell Sir Coil, step on Lego, mini version. As the whale touched James' pointed finger it was electrocuted enormously, like getting hit by a bus it exploded away in 2 seconds. What an ouchy finger, Napoleon said. Separation.
I haven't really weaved these parts together yet, but it's done.
I have seen sent for by my half-brother to protect him during the succession of elven kings. He is but the 6th son. They use diplomacy and smile, but as soon as they are left to themselves they think of murder to succeed the throne. Forest elves go like flies for the lineage, to capital Ixalig. It's not every day you go to Ixalig, said Sabrina almost like a whisper. Loud enough for her hearing. Teleport to 7 Pathways Journeystone. Here we must use a spell, said Napoleon, never got the knack for these things. Go on Leaves and Spirit, summon the light and the burrowing hearth. A 5th path was shown through the cross, it went through the thick piles of leaves and through the ground, every step got him a foot below, invisibly. Taking a wooden spiraling staircase down in a tree through the ground, they exited on an unending underground forest. 300 meters down it rested on thick pale trees, the ground was the heavens and the grounds murky. On chalky and carved trees they went down and down until in the forest, silent, mystic and thick of oxygen and decomposition. To the capital is this way, said Napoleon. Through a 2,000-meter white tree in diameter, the capital Ixalig glue a bit purple and white. Like a dimmed lantern it glue through the underwood. In the tree it was a city with ponds, elevation for each dwelling and old trees within old trees. White trees that seemed dead, magical light blue and pink trees, ancient twisted trees and trees for the strongest weapons. They saw elves with antlers fletching wild beast bows and elven piercing ammunition, some seemed interested in him, others gleaming. There were albino animals in pens, waterfalls on cliffs supporting wyverns and farting unicorns. Something you just have to tolerate farting unicorns, said Napoleon. That unicorn is seriously muscular. Yes, the farting unicorn is another name for the steroid unicorn. I'd feel better with working on something, said Napoleon. I'd feel better figuring something out, said James. I'd feel better feeling safe and guaranteed, said Sabrina. They paid respect with other elves entering the king's wooden fortress of white bloodbark. There were even some mountain elves and creatures non-elven, some seemed not to understand the king's speech. James saw a centaur with magical brown wooden bottom, beautiful female with cherry blossom around her torso and down like a holiday. I feel the end is near, probably about 20 minutes in it, said King Galthir eager and to the point. It's been a fantastic 3,900 years for me, passed one day at a time, too short time with respectable friends and elves and too short to rule him. I felt like I have been shrinking in my brain so many times, every 100 years like I'm unfit for my clothes. But I survived and ruled with the remains of time, always. The real price of my funeral now I put into the food and drinks really, enjoy. Thus the final moments I spend with my 6 children. They went up into the highest floor and shut the door.
Right?
Now I don't want you to fight for the throne, let Molinum rule. No one wants Molinum to rule, he's unfit, oaf and fat. 4 brothers and 1 sister said in unison. I wouldn't want me to rule, said Molinum pompously. I place a curse on these 6, although I love you. By the stars and constellations, if you are too bloodthirsty in this conquest, it shall not work, and the lineage able conductors take this throne. If you shall be cold-hearted, there shall be no precious ruby and sapphire. Tethlanan III said, Go father, you never wanted rest, too eager are you to work even in death. Erela, the second sister, was without words. She cried and took upon the duties of her father's death. I shall go with a bang, on my own terms. I ate the entire treasury of Maystar, first day. In the end I do not feel like latching onto another moment as long as possible. The king exploded in a bloody mess. 100 Maystar's coins flew everywhere and Frost Nova froze the room. Instantly one child had pulled a machete, but was stopped by the tallest brother. After almost choking him, he calmed down, was released. Brushing off some dirt, he kicked the brother in the nuts with his heel and he went to the ground, equally not moving. Wow, look at those shiny marbles. 2 brothers gave each other eyes that they knew just what they meant. I've got a killing plan for you. They picked up the coins non-greedily and told each other nothing like they were the least favorite step in laws. Simbir VI came unto Napoleon and cleansed himself with a handkerchief. I must need a spell at all times that tells me poison around me arduous and insidiously inside. I shall drink my own wine. He had wide evil-looking exterior jawbones, black sleek hair and a longer face. You have mustered a personal security, Napoleon. The power is immeasurable. Let's see if you can meet the baseline elven royal strength. Galaxy Maystar Punch. Fist for fist, Toadsburg's Requiem. As they met fist on fist, it seemed a huge star shield surrounded Simbir's fist. What was that shield? Said Napoleon. Whenever I need it, your blood is pumping with fury like an unknown berserker animal. Okay, Simbir said. His scars seemed to protrude. To not be bloodthirsty, I must at least be prepared, to have a plan for each sibling, and we must have a unique plan for each one. Why do I feel your sister in the end will be the cunning last standing? Napoleon. That is how a thinker would psychically interpret. I must gather a personal guard elite, to save me in my sleep and murder them as they drift away. 1 elite elf of each guild. I'll gather my best weapons then from Markspire, 1 wizard contemporary for you and an assassin. He is the Holy Beget Guild wielder, rank 2 in French by his elite. He has fought fiercely, out-begetting primitively. The world used to tolerate gluten before Arnaud Felix Sauvage. I will not cower behind a fort, and for an assassin anyway, unless they have an army maybe. Better to sneak out if the enemy bears a siege, said James. I heard you rank among your smartest humans. Well, so do I, here among the elves. Well, pleasant company, it's like a mystical, complicated nobleness, or something. There is no time to compete. Don't worry, I win without trying, and trying is a confined set in a confined set. Teleport in. I've gathered the French dubious guard, assassin. He was eating breakfast of sweet toast, chocolate bread with raspberry glaze, a chocolate eclair and sugared coffee. Jesus Christ, what a sweet breakfast. Where I come from we eat sausage, said James. A sausage with 2 ends. Let us change breakfast one morning, James. If it is delicacy English breakfast, I trust your fat belly. It's the only breakfast with 1,500 calories. I will provide Cuban cigars. The many elves were liking Arnaud's look. They were being tolerant indeed. The defensive spells they put on Simbir were magnificent, some required daily applying. Detection of enemies, malicious intent master version, foe hamster, which explodes when someone has swore to eliminate you, or when they shave their head. Illusion magic that grew more power the more ill your intent. Deflection of arrows and potions, sharp poison resistance, and it helps you stay sober when drinking Roaring Moon. They had a Roaring Moon version made by druids, roaring constipated parrot that revealed enemies, an attraction, when drunk. I can tell with my elven intelligence you have only recently been made fat. Everyone feasts once in a while. Burp. You have something stuck in your teeth. It was a whole chicken wing. I have some done customized training, like in stone armor. Like the Iron Samurai, true, maybe you can don heavy armor as well. James and Arnaud donned absolute unit. James flexed his chest muscles giant. He had a genetic huge chest like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he didn't tell everyone wrong advice to get ahead. Users of absolute unit, no amateurs either I presume, but we need more than 1 versus 1s. James told the party about an invention for Fat the microwave. He thought he made the most fitting microwave jokes. It comes from an alien spaceship, said an elf of Simbir's. An alien microwave can heat anything to any temperature in 5 seconds. Let me guess, its ability seemed too advanced for you at first. Maybe I did think it was only a few minutes of heating. Really makes you think of microwaves. I love thinking about microwaves, they're so four-dimensional. The shape. As a Brit he also likes taking baths for hours, then he goes up like his head all filled with an afro of foam. Guys, I think I need to take another bath, said Arnaud. That's only true for people who don't have jobs, said James. What is that, a tempting goblet? No, a tempting baguette. There are no baguettes except the ones we make.
Yeah, okay, what do we do now? Oh shit,
Murmur
like
go.
the finals here
I think
or
it was
something.
a little bit more than just the speed that changed, right? Murmur alongside Malorn, right? With no imbues, just you know, make all my stuff cost 1, play a bunch of, oh god, what are they called? The Emerald Dream minions had a special name.
Divine Beasts, something like
that one. Yeah, that sounds right. Divine Beasts. Yeah, those chains could get, you know, a little bit challenging to play, pretty overwhelming to face.
Such choices.
What do you think of this? These starship inclusions in the Shaman deck? Is there anything you have in mind in particular that you're looking to gain edges against with this build of the deck?
I mean, I guess it's just sort of like not really being into the baking soda volcano, right? And saying like, well, I'm going to use these as sort of my somewhat anti-aggro option instead.
Sure.
You know, Lock On lets you deal with some extra big minions more smoothly. You know, if you miss on buffing Growfin, then Lock On goes well with the Growfin. But notably, you know, it's not like you have Raynor instead of Alakir, because with Wish Upon a Star, Alakir is still like really, really nice to have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense.
It is a little bit unusual. I guess something it does is like Starport being a location dodges both, you know, spell and minion tags, so it makes something like bird watching a little bit more consistent potentially. And then more ability to sort of like be able to press the button before playing a Wish Upon a Star.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
A pretty good pickup from the Flight of the Firehawk there, right? Being able to get a buff on the Murloc that you summon a copy of, as well as the Bellhop for next turn.
Yeah, I think, I mean, upside and downside, right? But it's certainly one of the changes that comes with adding the starship pieces in there, is you're adding additional mechs to your deck with the missile pods, which means you don't have the guaranteed hit on Ziliax if you're going to hit a mech.
Sure.
Which, you know, it's expensive. Obviously, Ziliax is a fantastic card to hit with a buff pretty often, but if you are trying to tempo out early, then you know maybe you just prefer to have the buffed missile pods.
Maybe you just don't like playing Overload cards. that's kind of my first impression, is that well, Big Soda Volcano is Overload. If you don't run it and you do these things instead, you can still do okay against aggro, but not have to worry about that.
Sure. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Bumbling Bellhop does come down for the double 5/5s. Pretty common outcome in this deck. Took a little while for the Bellhops to find their place in the meta, but it has started taking a grip in a couple of decks over time. Of course, first in that Beast Hunter with the bears. There's that backup plan with a couple of the expensive spells available, but now finding this kind of auxiliary home in Shaman.
Yeah, there's so many ways to hand buff, you know, in terms of, we think Warrior or Death Knight actually, and of course Hunter touring into Warrior. Would not have anticipated a kind of hand buff in Shaman, but here we are.
Yeah, of all the decks that kind of exclusively deal with buffing their own cards that don't play it, it just kind of shows up in Shaman as 2/5/5s that you can play every now and again, and it's kind of fine. I don't think anyone really disputes its place in the deck.
Wish upon a packet.
And I mean, this is a considerable amount of stats for turn 7. The freeze pickup there actually quite good off the Silk Stitching, just for the couple of card draws, as well as hitting the 9/10 there.
Yeah, really good. But this is something that I have very much enjoyed watching players do in this tournament, which is make these kind of huge early boards against Death Knight, because it's very... Oh, nice. Asphyxiate. Is that an Asphyxiate pickup of the Silk Stitching? Looks like it was.
Yeah, I mean, both Silk Stitching is very, very relevant.
Yeah, like great for stopping this board, because as I was just about to say, like Death Knight kind of has this reputation of, oh, I can just kill any board that you can play, but we've seen a lot in this tournament that actually the removal can tend to be a little bit limited, and if you keep asking these questions consistently and persistently enough in the early game, you can actually push through a lot of damage and put them under a lot of threat. So that's a couple of really important Silk Stitchings to create some removal where there wasn't really a great deal of it available for Jakasso.
Yeah, and then winning the 50-50 there at the end so that the leeches could clean up that last big minion. I think being able to get a full clear there without having to spend any of your premium removal, you know, in the form of Corpse Explosion or like Amelia kind of stuff. Pretty good deal for Jakasso. Of course, they're back, but you know.
Decent positioning from Aquaman, just spacing out his minion on the left-hand side of the starship, knowing that the Nebula minions would spawn on the right.
Yep.
Just plays around Nomelia that little bit. Nice and helpful.
Yeah, Nomelia, Orbital Moon, you know, one of the better clears available for the deck. You know, 12 damage to 3 things next to each other, 4 damage to the rest, and, you know, a Reno effect to boot. But this works decently as well. Again, though, not going to be able to get that large Nebula minion. And actually, because of the Space Rock, this is just a really strong Wish Upon a Star. Or if it's not... Is it just...
And that... Like, the Hearthstone mechanics working entirely correctly could not have gone any worse for Jakasso there, because the first... I mean, obviously, the first thing is the positioning from Aquaman, which was on point, totally his plan. But then the way the Death Rattle spawned, because the 4/4 Death Rattle appeared in play after the Death Rattle from the Nomelia, it then went off after the Death Rattle from the Nomelia, which left all of the 2/2s in play. So there's just a ton of extra damage left in play that could have been cleared up otherwise if things had procced in a different order.
And let's see, we have 10 from... We had 10 from the Alakir there, right?
Is it buffed already? Oh yeah, because there's already been one played, right? One Fairy Tale played?
Yeah, so I guess it...
One Wish Upon a Star, sorry.
So maybe we were one off there?
Fire Sanctuary is fucking terrible, actually. It's extremely...
yeah, because the buff added 8 and Alakir would have added 10, right? So yeah,
right.
One, presumably.
The mana sheet card gives you 3 mana for 2 mana over like 6 turns.
Still, set you to 2 and no Ceaseless in sight. Pretty good. I think Jakasso just has to look for Corpse Explosion.
Yeah, it's better, actually. It's
there it is. But then, yeah. Oh, I guess it probably wasn't enough corpses. Or he knew that the Alakir was likely in hand.
I think 13 corpses he had at that point, which would have been enough to clean up the board, even through all the death rattles, I think. But yeah, just going to get eaten by the Alakir at the end of it anyway. So that is going to be game one, going over to the Shaman. And like I said, just something that the Death Knight has looked surprisingly susceptible to so far in this tournament is just make
whatever, done. Well, it's a YouTuber. I don't think Jimmy here minds if I go for like an old episode. Like this 2 years old.
If you're Patrick, then who's that?
Yeah, something tells me that.
These edits, dude.
Feel good.
They're getting too good. What? Is Jimmy here? That like button. Soon, you know what they say?
Jax.
Faction characters with me and
Get here right now. Guys, holy crap. Dude.
He's real! The blue lobster is real! The GameCube is the best console.
I like it cut, G.
I actually haven't gotten my hair cut in like, God, over 2 years maybe? Editor? What would I look like bald? Never mind. Hey, SpongeBob. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Bird prepares for his shift.
Ow. No. God, I wish that were me. Like, very strong and long hair and a sword, not being blown up by a ship.
Hey, Heather. Yeah. Can you give me a screwdriver, please? Yeah.
Did that not hurt?
That's the wrong one. Sorry.
What the? Dude, how thin is drywall? That had to have hurt.
That's why you eat it.
Why was it the Scott the Woz outro? What? Dude, you guys are just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks.
Hey, how can you tell if the pasta's ready? Just throw it on the wall. If it sticks, it's ready. Maybe 2 more minutes.
I don't even think those noodles were the type to stick on the wall. I think it's literally only spaghetti noodles, not like those little cylinderingos. That's not a word.
So the next thing I'm going to talk about is, bro, can you record properly?
The answer.
Aww. Oh! Hey, he's getting a free snack. Hey, wake up, buddy. He's stealing the bird. He said, okay, you're not getting out of the bag. I'm stealing the whole bird.
Well, not too bad. My mom keeps interrupting my videos again because I get tired of it. Hope you don't know
the fucking door opening.
Alright.
Let the man Kamehameha in peace. Just let him do it. He's out here living his dreams.
And this is what I call Super Saiyan above a Super Saiyan. Yeah.
You guys want me to go Super Saiyan? I can go Super Saiyan.
I don't feel any more powerful. I think I shit myself.
Mr. Krabs, can I have a...
Okay, I think I'm chilling. Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, clips like that, dude, they're just, they're too much, dude.
What's up? What's up? What's going on? How are you doing on this fine day, my brother?
That was like poetry.
If you're Patrick, then who's that?
These edits, dude. They're getting too good. Keep these lobsters out of my chat.
Grandma Sycamore's homemade bread. You better be f***ing nice to Grandma, all right?
Okay.
Grandma Sicko mode. Huge fan. Official preservative. Sycamore.
Oh dear.
Look at this scoundrel. Look at this little scallywag, this little devious guy. What is he doing? What is he doing?
What is he up to? He's up to some devious acts. He's up to no good. That's supposed to be me as a cowboy. Why did you add the bwomp? We couldn't have gotten like a yeehaw? Something cool? Ooh. Ooh. Legend says that they're still grooving.
3, 2, 1, go.
Friday Night Funkin' looks different. That's like a hard
Waste your time.
toast. You're gonna grill the cheese. Oh, why? It looks so
My ass is
good.
so powerful. I
Gonna
need
lose the
a
sweet
break.
butt cheek groove I've been working into this couch. It looks just like me.
That is not from the original episode, dude.
Disgusting. That place is covered in memes.
Look at all these dead memes.
You're
The
too
music goes
late,
crazy.
m'ladies. I've already created the perfect meme.
I mean, Shaggy's amazing. The perfect meme? I don't know.
That's
I don't know
meme.
if there can ever be a perfect meme. Because I think that's what makes memes so great, is that they're imperfect. Just like you, Chad.
Fuck
You don't
you,
have to
Jimmy.
be perfect to be loved.
Alright, man.
well, let's go left.
Oh. Well, he went this way, and then he went this way, and then I go this way, and then I go that way. Oh God! Oh my God!
What just happened?
What happened, Uncle Ben? Squid
Did you just drop
Games?
the glass?
I'm dead.
I'm dead. Okay, dude. Just because I got jump scared by the Quaker Oats guy like one maybe times does not mean you guys can bully me, okay?
Why are you bullying me? Why are you fucking bullying me?
Cotton 4K, and I wasn't even looking. You can go back in the recording and check my eyes. I was looking
I
somewhere
would just
completely else.
look at man
I was not
twerking
looking.
because I'm curious, you know, like, is it like useful as a fact or something?
Nice.
Me so much
Hey,
trauma.
Shadow. Long time no see. Look up there. Whoa. Whoa. Those things look so sick, it makes me want to bark like a dog. See, wasn't that cool?
What was that?
See ya.
Sonic, wait.
What was that one clip, dude? If you blinked, you missed it.
Please. As if you could handle even a fraction of my power.
No, I don't think I could.
The fart sound most gesture in my book, one vowel.
I don't think I want to. I'll stay far away from that power, dude.
Want to get out of here?
I'm grounded.
How do you ground Spider-Man?
Can't ground the game. I don't want to stay inside.
No! God! Dude! Stop with the sniffing, man! Stop with the sniffing!
Please, 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 please.
Very explosive brain cells.
Is this Cyberpunk? Is this game good yet? No.
We're starving. We need rocks to eat, but Dodongo's cavern is blocked off by a boulder.
Why don't you eat the boulder?
Why were they caked up? Why were the Gorons so thick?
Oh, freaking way. You better be careful. I can't even do that.
That's sad, dude. We just saw this. The classic misdirect. I'll take it.
What is going on, my dudes? Welcome back to If I Die, I Die. I'm here
I
at
don't look anything like that.
with Ed Sheeran going absolutely crazy.
I don't look, literally, I don't look anything like that. My hair doesn't go across here, dude. What do you guys think, that when I pull my beanie up, there's just a line of hair here?
Oh, my back.
Get your hot dogs, kiddos. $5 for a hot dog. Come on down, get a hot dog. $5. Come on down, get a hot dog. $5. Come on down, get a hot dog. $5.
I'm sold. I might just get 2. Ooh.
Jim, you're on a roll.
Am I?
I almost forgot that video existed. Oh, it's so good. Oh, hell. Oh, hell yeah.
That's meta. Cool. Can that just keep going? I want that to be like...
How far can we go? Ah!
To prepare a lobster.
Okay.
A sandwich. My pet lobster Terry loves his sandwiches.
Terry! No!
Man, I want me a hot pocket. Ooh.
Oop.
Your mama's so stupid. She made an appointment with Dr. Pepper.
Xbox Live? Dude. Ah!
Did I ask for fries? Dumbass.
Based. Absolutely based. Digimon.
There are monsters among us.
Why are there seagulls watching Digimon? Who let the seagulls hit record?
We are easily awakened by nightmares at night. It is difficult to fall asleep again after waking up.
I hate nightmares.
I invented this soothing bed. The design is very human. When we are awakened by nightmares, it will automatically activate the switch to put us to sleep, and also help us cover up. Very easy to use.
Cuddle up? That's a body bag at that point. It would help me fall back to sleep, though. Not gonna lie.
Bro, look at this goofy on phone. What the fuck?
Why are Android noises so funny, man? Why are they so goofy?
Can I have a large Dr. Pepper?
No.
I don't know what it is. I love drive-through videos. They're so good. Like, don't mess with drive-through people, but also they're so funny sometimes. Just be respectful about it.
There is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England.
It's too soon, bro. My everyday ritual. Ooh. It was perfectly full and good. And what do you mean by everyday ritual? Is there just like tons of
Remember to follow me
Baja Blast
on Twitch
Freeze
4K,
up on that roof?
Killer Rabbit. I'll come back to YouTube.
It's
You can
Luke.
see me again.
Wow.
This is brainwashing.
Why would you do that? Huh? There she is! Grandma Sicko Mode! Oh! That was so dumb. And not funny.
I'll sort you out here real quick, boss. Don't you worry. There you go, buddy. There you go.
Oh no. That's not how that works. I wouldn't know, but that is not how that works. Ooh, the kick. Ooh, the kick. Why? What did the table do to deserve that?
I just found out that Americans call a rockmelon a cantaloupe.
We do.
Oh, I just found out that Americans call a flicky flicky willy donker a f***ing light switch, mate.
A flicky flicky willy donker? I need me one of those, dude.
This is an ostrich egg.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't wrong.
That was a good video.
Y'all be lying if you never had one of those farts before. Patrick! No! Christmas is ruined.
Today we have my son and we are doing the emoji challenge. Today I'm doing whipped cream.
What is the emoji challenge?
This kid is a legend.
I love the emoji challenge now.
I'm still here.
For what? Why?
Let's take a break and listen to Wizard Yensid. It's not the one in the book.
TZ on Twitch.
Just it resets back to normal. It's incredible.
If you're Patrick, then who?
The bomber is beyond insanity. Beyond insanity. Baguette. Alright, I'm gonna end the YouTube stream now because I'm gonna listen to Spotify. Goodbye.